And hopefully our guest tonight isn't driven to the point of insanity, so that way she loses all of her hair. But maybe it's like my family, where my grandma would always say that our psychic abilities came in with hair loss. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Baldwin Bonkers Show. We have Claire Board joining us today. Thank you again for coming on.
My absolute pleasure. Can't wait. Thank you.
I've been looking forward to this since I seen you on TikTok that night, and I was in my meditation state. I came across you.
I love that,
and I thought, do you know, there's something special. There was something special about you, and I thought to myself, Ken, I need to get her on the show. And sent you a message. I didn't think you would answer me back, actually, because there's been a few people I've asked on the show for TikTok, and they never really get back to me. But I'm so thank you very honestly.
Thank you so much for having me. Honestly, I just, I always believe that the spirit world will draw to me, or my soul will draw to me, the people that I'm supposed to be vibing with. So, when you reached out, I just had that feeling. It's like, yep, I need to get back to this one.
Oh, that's that channel that I use. That's the one that I use for all the UFO material. To be purely honest, in the YouTube world, I do a lot more with ghosts and spirits and things that lurk in the night. Whereas my friend Dakota, he does a lot of stuff with the UFOs and their little green friends. He does a lot of stuff like that, and he's wrote multiple books, and the stories that he's got to tell are absolutely amazing. But Claire, could you tell us a little bit about yourself? Could you introduce yourself? Can you tell us something interesting?
Well, I'll try. I do talk a bit too much as well. Shut me up if I
know.
go
That's all right. I really like that. I really like that.
Hey, that'll be like working with him.
You got to have.
I wish I could put my hand through the wall and slap him inside.
Okay, yeah. So for me, it starts really, really young. So now looking back, I was saying to my mum at the age of 2, I was saying, there's a man in my bedroom. She thought it was perhaps a man that had died in the house prior to us owning the house. We've since changed our mind. We think it probably was actually the spirit guide that works with me most of the time. But that was the kind of first, in retrospect, the first kind of inclination that there was something maybe a little bit different. But really the big time that I started to pay attention was at the age of 4. So I was taken to the Richmond Cemetery in London, because that's where my granddad was got a plot there, and my nan and my mum were tidying up the plot. He'd been past maybe almost a year, and I was playing with some water in a vase and stones, and I felt my granddad come around me, but it was like a cloaking, just like an absolute cloaking of his energy all over me. And I heard him saying to me, Claire, tell Nanny Granddad says I love you, Ive. And I was so not fazed by this and too busy playing. I was like, no, I'm not saying that. And I was resisting it because I didn't even have the emotional maturity to realize that would even help someone, So it was just coming over me and washes so strong. Claire, tell Nanny Granddad says I love you, Ive. So in the end, I got so frustrated with this, I stood up, shouted across to my mum and my nan, who was standing at a gate by then, and shouted out, Nanny Granddad says I love you, Ive. Now, their faces just went, because I later found out, I remember this well, but I later found out that only my granddad was allowed to call my nan Ive, because she was Ivy Constance. Everybody else called her Connie. And obviously my mum called my nan Mum, and I called her Nanny. So my nan never forgot that. And it brought her a lot of peace right the way up until she passed when she was 92. So that was the start of me realizing, hang on, there's something else. But even then I was far too young to even really question it. It just was such a powerful experience. It stayed with me. And then fast forward in my teenage years, that's when it started to go, as quite often does with teenagers, completely crazy. So my parents got divorced, so I had emotional stuff going on, which is, I think, pretty, classic, because the energy around you is completely different. And then I started to see a man standing at the end of my bed, who was really tall, really imposing, absolutely intimidating. And I would see him as I was either drifting off to sleep or waking up, which I now obviously understand is hypnopompic and hypnagogic. But at the time, it was just like, what I see him. I was racing into my mum, absolutely terrified to be on my own. And we started to get paranormal phenomena. So we would get smells. Those smells would follow me around though. So, like smells normally linger. This would be there 1 minute, gone the next. But it would also travel, and other people would be smelling this smell that we couldn't put our finger on. We were turning the house upside down. There was all sorts of things, objects moving. He was really trying to get my attention. So I ended up seeing a medium when I was 19, and the medium said to me, I've got your granddad here. He says his name's Stan. So she went straight to my granddad, who had seen at the grave, and she said, what's that smell? There's a spirit guide here calling himself White Feather. You've seen him standing at the end of your bed. And she said, he's asking me to take you under my wing. And by that, I knew she was absolutely authentic, because there's no way anyone could have known that. So at the age of 20, I came under Sheila Thomas's guidance here in Hampton Hill Spiritualist Church in London, and I sat under her development for 10 years every week. So I didn't rush into this at all. I was doing platform mediumship and doing one-to-ones, but not for a long time.
It's something that's always intrigued me. And I've got fond memories. I can remember my birth.
Can you?
See, I can actually remember it. Yeah. And I've actually talked about this with people. One of them was Lisa Fry. I actually had a conversation about her, and I'll tell you one day about it, kind of like privately, but really quickly. It was tunnely white light.
Wow.
And I was walking down the white light tunnel, but I wasn't myself. There was like people round about me.
Yeah.
And I looked behind me and everybody was waving as if to say good luck kind of thing. And I can remember it because I can remember the place. And I told my mum and she didn't believe me. And then I told the doctor one day and he told me, well, that's what the place looked like inside, because a year after I was born, the hospital was knocked down. So how could I know what it was like inside? But it's something that's always intrigued me, kids and how babies in particular, can see spirits. It's as if there's something, we get a knowledge that's like built into us. We're still aware of who we are and why we're here. But then we get to like a certain point in our lives where it just forgets.
Yeah.
We just forget about it.
I did a lot of, sorry, Chuck, just tell me.
It's okay.
I did a lot of research when I was writing my first book, What the Dead Are Dying to Teach Us. I was learning all about the brain and the different types of, brain patterns that there are, and that babies between the age of 0 and 1 are only in delta phase, which is the deep sleep phase. And then between 1 and 6, they're in delta and theta. It's only from the age of 5 and 6 we start developing the ability to be in these alpha waves and beta waves that we're in now. So I believe that the reason they can see spirit and I could see spirit so easy was because we were in theta. And so the research done on mediums now, when they study their brains, the mediums are in theta brainwave patterns.
Yes.
So we are in tune with, and anybody can be in theta brainwave patterns if they learn to meditate. We can still be in tune with what little kids are in tune with. It's just that our brain then, just like you say, it forgets, it zones out, it filters everything because it's too much.
Yeah, it's too much for it, and it's. I think it's a good thing that we don't remember, because if you to come here and then realize that you were like a fighter pilot. In World War II, you'd be walking about, you'd be like, wait a minute, where am I? Kind of thing, because that has happened. I've seen cases where kids have been
totally.
in museums and they've pointed at airplanes
Mm-hmm.
and they've went, I was in one of them and I crashed, and they could tell you everything about that plane.
Absolutely.
And you're like, how do you know that?
Well, this is what I've written about in my books, because I've shared
Yeah.
all this about past life memories and pre-birth memories, like you were sharing, because I was actually shown my pre-birth memory as an adult. I was shown what I was called my point of entry. So, and I was literally a point of attention, like a light, absolutely hurtling. And I knew that I had to keep my focus entirely on what was being called my point of entry, because if I didn't, somebody else would be given that body. It was so strange. And I couldn't wait to get in. I couldn't wait to get going on this mission that I knew I had.
See, this is, it's a memory that's never left me. And it's a remember that I can think about to great detail. Because I could talk about it for about an hour. That's how much I know about it. I mean, it was weird because in the background you could see everybody, but behind them there was like mountains.
Wow.
There was mountains and there was scenery behind them, and it's as if they were standing at a guardrail. I kid you not, it was as if they were standing at a guardrail and they were waving. And I knew them. I knew who they were.
Your soul family, I reckon.
I think that's who. And I can remember walking down and people looking at me, but when I looked at others, it was just. You ever been in a department store where like the clothes, mummy kind of things don't have any faces?
Yes,
that's what everybody looked like.
Yeah.
That's what everybody looked like. Even I looked like that.
Yes.
And one looked at me and just nodded like that, and I looked back and nodded. But we knew what we were doing. We knew where we were going. And it makes me wonder, because some of the people that I came into contact that do in this life, it makes me wonder, are they some of the people that I was walking down that hallway?
I am absolutely convinced of it. I had the most powerful soul connection I've ever had. I don't know if your viewers will know what a soul connection is, but,
no, but please explain.
Okay. Well, so we're all energy, right? We're all energy. We're all consciousness, and energy isn't created. It can't be destroyed.
Yes.
So we are indestructible. And within our energy, we hold data, we hold information. That journey that travels through space and time that we make is our soul energy data field. Some people call it aura. I see that as just old data field. And some people call it Akashic records. Basically, we are recording experience within the universe. Just like DNA can record information on it. You know, it's what we do. That's what how the universe operates. So when we have had a previous lifetime with somebody where we have shared a relationship that's been either painful, loving, or whatever it is, should we cross paths with them again in this lifetime, we have an instant soul recognition. The energies go, oh, I recognize you. And so we recognize that person. Oh, there you are. So what you're saying to me, Christopher, absolutely fits in with what I know, what I've been taught.
See, it's weird because I've came into contact with people and people are like, but what happens if they're not the same age as you? But time's different in the afterlife. That's what I've told people. I've been like, 2 weeks to us could be 1,000,000 years to them. I mean, it's different. So because I've came in to meet people, and it's weird because it's as if I've knew them. It's so crazy.
Nope. Oh, did we lose her?
Clear.
She's frozen.
Clear.
Oh no!
We'll give it a moment, guys. Clear.
Beep, 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 beep,
no,
beep.
We'll give it a minute to come back, guys, because it's sometimes we have problems at this and clear.
It's been especially bad ever since the solar storms, hasn't it?
It has been bad after the solar storm. It's been quite intense. I actually cancelled that restream because they just kept. I found out that their servers in the United States and they kept going down constantly. So I just cancelled it. They gave me my money back. See if you can take that restream out for like a month. I'm giving them an advertisement here. But see if it's like a day before it runs out and you're not happy with it, they give you your money back.
Well,
but guys, we'll just give it a minute or two. I will get her back. Hopefully to the gods in heaven, because I'm very interesting show.
Yeah, so far, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
So
for those of you interested, yeah. God, I was hoping I would have it tamed down before we came on, but guess not.
You need to get yourself something to. Maybe you need antibiotics. It might have been in your chest or something.
Nah, I'll be all right.
We'll give it a couple of minutes. Oh, there we go. She's back from beyond.
I'm so sorry. I had this
That's
trouble.
fine.
I hope it doesn't keep doing this.
We thought the light had came to take you away.
I just, I think there's something definitely going on with our Wi-Fi in this area at the moment. I never normally have a problem.
Yeah,
but sorry.
But
hopefully,
please continue.
So I was listening to you, Christopher. Yeah. Where did we get up to? You got up to you saying that you recognised people that you saw in the spirit world.
Yeah, and to this day, I come across people, and it's been mostly it's been people in the paranormal. Mostly people I've met in the paranormal, I'm like, I know who you are, but it's weird. It's like I knew you. It's like I was related to you. It's so crazy, and we become good friends, and it's never really happened to me like, what do you call it, out and about, but it's always these people I meet on the internet, and I feel there's something that attracts me, and it's like there's something that's like a magnet.
It is. It's a magnetic pull.
Yeah.
And that's where the heart has got an electromagnetic field. And as we resonate at the same frequency of someone, we're drawn to them. So I had the most profound soul experience. I had a client come and sit in front of me. His name's Gyles. I've written about him, actually. And he basically sat in front of me like all my clients do. We looked at each other and it was absolute instant recognition. I had past life recognition. Hitting me of past lives with him. He was having the same experience. We knew each other inside out, and it was the most freakish thing. How do you say to someone, how do I know you so well? I know you like I know myself. And it sent me into a Kundalini awakening, which is, source energy absolutely pouring through me. I felt, when near-death experiences talk about reaching the light and feeling they don't want to come back. It shot me into that. It shot me into that experience. I had a blissful, I would say nirvana, Christ consciousness experience. Just the soul power, the soul energy. And it was the first time when I actually thought to myself, oh my God, I'm eternal. From young, I'd been speaking to the spirit world, but they were outside of me. Meeting Gyles made me realize I'm eternal.
Yes, it's a good feeling, isn't it? It's a really good feeling, because it's like you're walking down the road and you look at everybody doing their day. They don't really believe in this stuff, and they're all interested. They're only interested in saving money up and buying like equipment and stuff like that. But you're walking about and you're thinking, I wonder what I'll be doing in my next life. I wonder if I've been here before. There's a graveyard over there for the 18th century. I wonder if I actually am buried over there. Because you don't know.
I've had that thought. I'm going to Pompeii next week, and I'm like, what if I get there and I realise I've lived here before?
The volcano,
I know.
That has happened to me, because I did go a lot of old graveyards. The one across the road from me is from the 12th century, a 12th century graveyard. And when I go into it, I think to myself, Ken, all the previous lives, I wonder if I'm actually in here. Because you wonder who you used to be. And it just makes you wonder. But in another way, it's good, because you know that there's something at the end of things. You know that if you get cancer, God forbid, or you get something wrong with you, or you get killed, you know your soul will go on.
That's right.
And you will come back.
That's it. I think it allows you. I mean, unfortunately for me, last year I was really unwell. I mean, I nearly went back home.
Yeah.
I call it home, because to me that's home. I'm just traveling through here. But it was amazing. I actually looked death in the face for the first time in this lifetime anyway. And I just had a sense of how much I absolutely know I'm going to continue on, because I wasn't frightened at all of the idea. So I think it gives you the permission or the ability to live fearlessly.
It's
which
quite
God knows
interesting
we
because
need.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, go on.
I've been sadly, my mother passed away 2 months ago, right? And she had cancer. She had bowel cancer and stuff like that. It was terminal, and it's not the first time I was with my grandmother when she passed away, about maybe 15, 16 years ago. And it's quite interesting because when my mother, a couple of days before my mother passed away, the house felt like a Piccadilly train station. It felt like it was full, and I mean full to the brim with people. And I could feel it. I could feel the energy. See, I've got a ghost that lives in my house. I know him because I talk to him quite regular because I see him.
Wow.
And I'll tell you about it. But anyway, what was weird was my uncle, he's about 85 or something like that. He's sitting there with my mum, her sister. And she starts talking to people, and he's like looking round about him like that. And he's like, who? What's that? Like that. She says, oh, they're all coming to take me to the pictures tomorrow. Right? That morning at 10:30, she passed away. It was Valentine's Day that she passed away.
Oh, bless her.
But see, that's the thing. But see, he lost his wife. He lost his wife maybe about 4 years ago. And the exact same thing happened to her. She was looking round about the room. She said, oh, my mum's here. And he's like, okay. She just thought it was like the morphine they were giving her. Oh, no, my mum's here. She's standing in the corner. It's always the corner of the room. I think that's maybe where the portals
I know. Why is that?
Like that. I think it's something to do with portals or something. And she's coming to take me away soon. She's coming to take me tonight. And she says, okay. That night she passed away. I've got friends that have worked in care homes, and I've got friends that work in hospices, and they've all had the exact same experiences. All the old people, all the people with cancer.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I think it's an interesting thing at the very end. Yeah. Mingo?
Yeah, deathbed visions. So loads of palliative care nurses and people have reached out to me over the years. And there's certain phases that we seem to go through, certain key things that people will say that they're experiencing. And the nurses know that it's that close from what they're starting to say, especially as they're always saying that they're seeing people that are coming to get them. But these people are not living people. They're always people that are deceased, which I just find absolutely fascinating. It's not like if a child is not very well, they're not saying, oh, I can see my mummy there. They're talking about people that have crossed. So again, I find the young children thing fascinating because you know that they're not deluded or attention seeking. You know,
it is quite interesting because something as you get closer to death, I think the veil for like normal people just drops. It just totally, the force fields go down.
Absolutely.
There's like around anybody that's known the spirit world, they've obviously got this weird force field run about them, and they can't really see things. Maybe if they're in a haunted house, something in the night flirting about. But when they're near death, that force field just fails. And that's their mothers, their grandfathers, their brothers, their sisters, or even dead pets come to see them to take them into the light. Because let's face it, if you were lying in bed and you didn't really do anything in the paranormal and a stranger turned up, you'd be wondering, who's that? I'm not going with him. But But if somebody turned up that you knew, you're going to go with them.
Yeah. Of course you are. Yeah. And they know you're coming. I mean, this goes back to the whole soul family, soul group thing. We definitely move in pods. We do. We because that's where the growth and the evolution comes in. We're interacting in different lifetimes, playing different roles, learning from each other, leveling up, raising consciousness within the universe. Because to me, we are universal beings, not just human beings. And I think there's a lot of, interdimensional reality here. I mean, I'd be interested in Dakota's take on things because, for me, there's a blurred line between the spirit world and UFOs or UAPs, whatever you want to call them. whatever they are, saying the wrong. But but ultimately, anything that isn't inhabiting the earth is extraterrestrial, right? Mm-hmm. So intelligence that isn't on the planet. Yeah. So I don't know what you feel about that, Dakota, but we could be receiving things telepathy wise from other beings that are out in different dimensions. Who knows?
Well, anybody who's followed this show long enough or watched my stuff long enough knows that my stories are way too long to be included in this. But let's just say the short version of it is I go out to look for UFOs at night, and the response I get is, "Hi, Daddy, we miss you."
Right.
Yeah.
I totally believe it. Totally. I've done so many. So I don't do traditional evidence-based mediumship anymore. I'm an accredited medium with the Institute of Spiritualist Mediums. And for 20 years, I did evidence-based mediumship and trying to prove beyond reasonable doubt consciousness survives physical death. The spirit world started to tell me that I needed to evolve and move on, that humanity was ready for more now. Yes. And so the last few years, I've done soul guidance readings, which include soul path, past lives, spirit guides, and even interdimensional beings. The amount of times that I have people in front of me that I'm being told have been incarnate on other planets, in other parts of the universe. I mean, it makes sense, right? If there's 2 trillion galaxies out there, for goodness sake.
Oh, God, yeah.
Sentient conscious life exists elsewhere. So, and if we are consciousness and if we're soul and we can just incarnate here, we can incarnate anywhere. So hearing you say that to me, Dakota, is not conflicting with my own experiences, because whether you're consciousness embodiment, consciousness interdimensionally, consciousness in source, wherever you are in the astral planes, if you're in other dimensions within the universe, who the hell knows? We don't know. I know we know nothing.
I'm going to say this about Dakota the new. The first time I met Dakota, I have experienced some crazy stuff because of Dakota. I was always into ghosts and afterlife and that stuff, but I met Dakota, everybody round about Dakota at the time all had the same experiences of these people. I'll just call them his family, and I was having the same dreams, and there was people round about me that was having the same dreams. It kind of quieted down for me for a while because I was mixed up, and I think I was more kind of spiritual based. I was more like into ghosts and stuff like that. Whereas Dakota, he's really into the alien side of stuff. I mean, he does a lot of stuff. Dakota, why don't you tell us a wee bit of it, just so she knows?
A wee bit, Chris. You see how this story plays out, man.
We've got ages. Just explain it a wee bit. Come on,
Chris. The story is still evolving as we speak. I was like,
look, it's amazing.
People in the audience can back me up here. There's no little.
It's look what's happened with Dakota is absolutely amazing, because I had a dream one night and it was just so real, and I knew it was somewhere else, and then I told them about it, and then somebody else had the same dream, and then there was times when I had the dreams and it would get worse and worse, but then after a wee while it dissipated with me. I think it's maybe because I was more like into ghosts and spooky things, but he's more into the alien kind of stuff. But I can tell you something right now. We are definitely being watched. They're definitely on this planet now, and they're definitely probably watching this show as we speak. So,
for sure.
But
I mean, that's what I'm saying to you. I think it can, as a medium and a channel, it can be confusing that you can sometimes be connecting in with interdimensional beings, or you could also be connecting in with the spirit world, because it's consciousness. And if consciousness can communicate telepathically with us, which it appears it can, or it's sending data through to the brain, however you want to put it, then communication is possible no matter what, wherever that life is. And to me, life is just a continuum. So it feels just as real to us on the other side of physical life than it does here. And also the other thing is, what I've come to learn is that the physical world and the spiritual world are still worlds of form, because we take a form in them. So it's, really not until we go back to pure source energy that we really drop the lot and just exist in light form. All the while people are in other astral planes or devacanic planes, whatever you want to call it, then we're existing in some kind of form. Because I still even see spirit guides in form.
See, that's the thing. I know that there's extraterrestrials out there that don't have like bodies like me and you have.
No,
they don't have bodies. They're just like light beings. They just exist. They're light spirits. You could actually mistake them as a spirit. Because they're billions of years more advanced than us, and they just float about. That's what they do all day. They just do that kind of stuff. But because they're so old and they've kind of managed to get techniques to the spirit world. They know how to tap into the spirit world, and they know how to talk to the spirits. And I think that's how they managed to come to Earth, and how they can maybe implant someone into somebody's body. They can play with that. And I find that so fascinating.
Well, the thing is, to me, consciousness is primary. And consciousness, the way we know, don't we already, the way that we think creates our reality. So if you were that evolved that you no longer needed physical form, that you could exist in photon, then or that you were just that consciousness there embodied in a orb, or however you want to vocalize it, then you could manipulate anything. It's no different, is it, from me sitting here and saying people's loved ones most certainly manipulate the physical world to show us signs. That robin that you see come in to your garden just at the passing of somebody, or that butterfly that lands on you, that has been influenced by the consciousness of somebody in the spirit world. Just like how you and I, if I was to stare at you and you didn't know I was looking at you, you'd turn to look at me. If we've ever done that experiment where you stare at people that don't know you're there and then they look over at you, it's just that.
I've done that.
But exactly. But that is the same thing, isn't it? That person's point of attention has gone on the robin. That robin is now influenced to hop near to a loved one. They know that loved one's going to think of them maybe on their anniversary. They're manipulating this world. And you're saying all you're saying is that somebody that is within our universe or within interdimensions within the universe is also able to do the same thing. And I think we got to get a bit smarter and a bit broader with our thinking, because you're right. When I started out 27 years ago, all I could cope with the idea was when we died, we became like spirit people and there was a spirit world. I'm so far beyond that now, it's ridiculous.
A wee question that I've actually got for you, I was thinking about how to ask you it the night. I mean, I've met a lot of people that deal with the demonic side of spiritualism. And have you ever experienced a darker spirit? I mean, I've met people that have done exorcisms. I've met people we've had people on the show, like that Bishop Brian for Ghost Adventures. We had him on the show. I mean, have you ever came in contact with one of these dark things?
Yes. So basically, when I met Gyles Whitnall, and we had that soul connection, a whole load of paranormal. I mean, I'm doing a Dakota here. I've got so much. This is all being given to you in just really, really bite-sized chunks. But when Gyles and I connected, the spirit world were coming in. Our guides were coming in, say, do you know who you've just met? Do you understand the purpose of this soul bond? And you are to sit now and be trained together. He's a wonderful, as it turns out, energy healer. And I'm the medium. So we were put together, yin and yang, masculine, feminine energies. And we have been trained in spiritual release, spiritual crisis, and exorcism, or I don't like to call it exorcism, but cleansing work in all its forms. And I hadn't, before I met Gyles, I don't think I was ready. Well, I certainly on my own wasn't ready to be going into the darker side of the spirit world. But since over the last 5 years that I've worked with him, I've come across some very shadow side of things. But you know what I've learned is that the dark and light coexists. So there isn't one without the other. And it really is about people not aligning with those frequencies within themselves. So yes, I have come up against some real nasties.
Yeah,
I don't know why I'm laughing.
I know, but I'm laughing too. I mean, I've heard some crazy stories. I've heard some intense stories that are 100% true, and people. I'm going to say this: people out there don't realize what they're doing when they start getting into this kind of stuff, especially the demonic side of things. They think it's all fun and games. There's a lot of people who use like spirit boards out there. If you know, if you're like a trained professional like you yourself, Claire, or Dakota, or people that I know that are into spirit boards, you can use that kind of device. It's like a telephone to the spirit world.
I do, yeah, exactly.
But then you get the younger generation that take that and they go into a graveyard and they think that they're having a laugh, and they don't realise that they could maybe contact something that's maybe think, I could jump onto that 15-year-old or that 14-year-old and hold on to them. And the rest of their life, they could start getting addicted to drugs. They could start being into crazy things and all that kind of stuff. And it might be because of that thing that's feeding.
Yeah, Gyles and I call them bottom feeders. They're like, there's a lot of them around. There's a lot of them that are just hanging about waiting for people to vibe low, and then they just want to align with them and keep them low so they can keep that energy feeding in. And so yes, as a teenager, given our society does not accept this is even reality, so they're not trained to just, it'd be a bit like opening your front door and just saying, oh, come in anybody, we just wouldn't do it, would we? So this, to me, the spirit board is no different from a piece of paper and a pen. It's a bit of cardboard. What's happening is you're sitting there, you're setting an intent, and you're saying, I want to connect with that. And most teenagers are saying, I want to scare. I want to know you're there. And so they're aligning with the fear straight off the bat. They're aligning with the fear. And then they are getting the fright they want. But I think what's even more scary within the darker realms of spirit is, to me, those bottom feeders, if you want, aren't highly intelligent. They're just looking for the like attracts like thing. But within the spirit realms, when you talk about demons, or there's a level of intelligence in the spirit world that is so intelligent, you wouldn't even recognize it as the dark. And that's the scary stuff. Because it is very manipulative. It will be able to talk you into all sorts. I can help you out. I can get you this money. I can get you that money. I can help you do your wildest dreams, whatever it is. And before you know it, you've made an alignment. You've set the intent that you want that. And you haven't got a clue what you've just now walked into. So I think we're protected, though, all the while we open up to the spirit world in love, set the intent, and we hold our own energy and our own power. We're okay. It's like you say, it's the more naive, or the ones who haven't got a lot of self-esteem, self-confidence, who are low mental state. Just don't even go there. Ignorance is your protection.
You need to be also careful of like locations too. I mean, there's a lot of I've been to a few locations like abandoned hospitals, and especially mental asylums. Yeah, and you go into these places and you see people have been like the satanic. They've been doing like satanic kind of rituals and stuff, and you wonder to yourself, what are they actually doing? But you need to be very careful. No, for that person that's actually done that, because maybe they know what they're doing. It's the people that's maybe going into that location. Just thinking they're exploring that place, thinking, oh, look at this, there's an old hospital bed out there. What's this? Picking something up and going, oh, look, it's a wee ornament. I'm taking that home with me and putting it in their pocket and then walking out the door. And then all hell breaks loose in their house because they took something back.
Absolutely. Gyles and I were taken to a pub, actually, and there was knives flying off the back of the pub bar onto the front of the pub, landing on the points, I think that's an attention seeker myself. Obviously, it wasn't trying to kill anybody, but in that land, there had been, as we found out later, satanic rituals had been done for at least 1,000 years. There was pagan stuff going on that land, and the power that had been summoned up on the land was so incredibly strong. I've never felt anything like it in my life. I mean, to the point where my spirit guides were like, just get out. You're not qualified to deal with this. You need more training. Get out. We'll come back. You know, so you got to know your limits. You got to know. You got to respect this stuff and know your limits, and know that you are love. You are indestructible, but you also in this body don't know it all. You know.
No, that's right.
Be respectful of it.
Oh yeah. Dakota, would you?
Nah, I was just thinking back to some my experiences with some of the more darker stuff, but I have found it funny that since we got into the conversation, especially, you know, people's last minute moments, I keep hearing voices coming through on air right now. So I'm just trying to listen to see. All right, what did that say? What that say?
I will say to you this, right? I don't know if it's my house guest. Right, he likes to come out. He's got a thing with my lives, right? I do talk to him on a very regular basis. I talk to him every day because I can see him, right? I know he's here than now. I can feel he's here than now. He's got a thing for, I'll tell you, he lived in the farm behind me, right? The farm behind me was built in the 14th century, right? And it caught on fire. And the story goes that there was a man killed there. That's the guy that stays here, right? And I think he's one of my medium friends told me, see how I've got the neon,
yes,
and they're LEDs. He likes my family, right? He likes us, and he's terrified that we set the house on fire because there's been a few times in the house that our interlinked smoke alarms have went off and they shouldn't be, and it's for the most maddest reasons. And I think that's him. He's just worried. I think he's got to it now that they're just LEDs, right? But the other night I was sitting, I was watching TV. This is my wee studio area. I seen, I was going to tell you about this, Dakota, but I didn't. I seen a golf ball sized orb and it just floated right out past me, went out through the next wall. Now I'm wondering, is that him? Or is it my mother? Because my mother died in this house 3 months ago. And it makes me wonder that who that is. I don't know who it is, but I've got a feeling it's just him, and I think because I'm opening up more into spiritual, I'm becoming more spiritual because I do tarot cards stuff and that, but I also do like other kind of things. I feel like I'm opening up more. Do you get me there?
Well, Claire? I think when you set the intent and you say I'm ready, they will then, and if they know that the intent is true, they will then start working with you. And so you're sitting in meditation, you're expanding your mind, you're in communication. So they will then start to work with you to get the information through.
I do a lot of other stuff, but I keep that to myself. It's kind of like spiritual stuff because I do, when I go to graveyards and stuff, I do see things. I'm working with Lisa, for instance, that I mentioned. She's helping me with things that I see and stuff like that too. But yeah, he's friendly. He's been here for a long time. He's very, very, very protective of the house.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you can imagine the spirit world around us everywhere, right? I mean, it's just another hairbreadth away. They're a thought away, as mediums always say. So, you know, there's people around us all the time. We don't need to move them all on. It's only the ones that are actually creating havoc in our lives. Otherwise.
Yeah. It's the spirits order. That's what people don't realize. There's spirits everywhere. Some people will be sitting watching this and they're thinking, "Oh, I'm in my house myself tonight. You know, I'm not going to scare you or nothing like that." And you're sitting there and you're thinking, "This is a new building." No, I'm telling you this now. There's probably spirits that's walked through your house. They've probably popped in. They've thought, "Well, this is nice. This is. I'll hang about here for a wee while," and then they'll go on their way. That's what they do. But there's a lot of spirits out there that don't mean you any harm. They just like to hang about and nose about.
The majority.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked with the Scottish Society for Psychical Research, and they were doing a talk once on possession. And so in all of their research, only 1% of all cases are classed as possession. That means 99% of all spirit contact is absolutely benign, harmless, and more than that, absolutely unconditionally loving.
Yes.
So, you know, I think when spirits stay earthbound, there's a purpose behind it. Who are we to say that they need to move on? Maybe they're not ready, you know, as long as they're not creating havoc, like I said.
Through my understanding and through my kind of relationship with my friend, he likes me, and I think he's protecting me. I honestly do feel that, because when I go to like castles and I go to like haunted locations and stuff, I can feel him. It's as if he's there, and when I'm driving my car, I can feel him sitting next to me.
Maybe you're right. And people. Well, maybe he's a guide, or maybe your own guides have said, you know what, he wants to work in that capacity. Yeah, give him a role. Exactly. And that may be part of his ascension back. You know, we're all connected. We're all one at the end of it. So, you know, it is, I don't know. I think it's a healthy relationship myself, you know.
Fine.
It's not bothering you. It's not bothering anyone.
It doesn't bother me one bit. And you know something? I used to be kind of scared before I got into this kind of stuff. I was like, oh no, there's a ghost about. See, now it doesn't bother me. I can walk through graveyards at night time. It doesn't do nothing to me. It's just that I just walk through because it's a shortcut. But it does, and I know people. Oh, I wouldn't have walked through the graveyard at night. The devil will be there.
Well, I mean, I've got to the point where I'm more scared of the living than the dead. That's for sure.
Yes,
I mean, you know,
my grandmother. Yeah, my grandmother always said. Yeah, the people in the graveyard will not do you harm. It's the people outside the graveyard that are more likely to do you harm.
Exactly. And actually, I've got to the point now where, I mean, I've experienced, oh God, over my lifetime, so much phenomena. It is absolutely proven itself to me now. It is beyond doubt. 100%. But, you know, even then, I'm still looking for that evidence all the time. It doesn't just happen. Walking through the graveyard, I'm not going to see a million ghosts standing there. Do you know what I mean? I'm still thrilled when something happens. It's like, whoa.
Yes. Yeah. It's an interesting thing. I mean, I know Dakota's experienced some crazy spiritual stuff in his day, not just the alien stuff. Dakota, can you say something about it? Because you've experienced a lot of like spiritual stuff. You know what I mean? Because he has an investigator. He's done a lot of investigations in haunted locations.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I've dealt with this stuff most of my life. I mean, well, right now, the main thing I've been kind of eyeballing is my almost 6-month-old niece. I'm fairly certain she's seeing somebody, because she'd start looking off in the corner and start making funny faces, and I'm just like, who the hell are you, kid?
Yeah. I know my daughter did that. Oh, have you? Yeah, my daughter did that. My daughter used to point out all the time when she was little, and when she was a tiny baby, I could see her staring past me at other, you know, and smiling and laughing. I mean, this is the thing for anybody watching this that's a little bit scared, right? If you think about the kids are seeing this stuff all the time. We saw it as kids. It did no harm to us. It is just another level of reality. It's when we come with a whole boatload worth of fear and our own trauma in life and our own, and not just in this lifetime as well. Obviously, we, like you were saying earlier, Christopher, it's a good job we don't remember all our past lives, because you imagine how much trauma is involved in all of that, you know.
I know. I mean, you think about the people that can remember being in plane crashes.
I know.
People that are born today that were killed in terrorist attacks and stuff, that they can remember these things.
You wouldn't want to, would you?
Yeah, no, you wouldn't want to, because that's why I think there's something built into every human, and I think it's different with animals. I think animals know when it's time they're going to die. Do you know that? I think animals is different with like cats and dogs, and I think they're totally different. They've got something else. They know, because they can see the spirits. My dog sits and stares in the corner and just wags her tail, and she takes her ball and she drops it, and I'm like, what are you doing, Jesse? She's wagging her tail away. But another thing I was going to ask you, you were mentioning the Akasha records. What's your opinion on the Akasha records? Because I have been there. I've been there, I've frequented that a couple of times, and I did come against this I'm not going to say it was a man, and I'm not going to say it was a woman. I do not know what it was. It was just like a shimmery light, and it said to me that you can look at this and you will know your future. And I choose not. I says to it, I says, I don't want to see it because, listen, quite frankly, I don't want to come back again and redo this, because I felt like it was going to show him in my life what I'm meant to be doing in life. Maybe I should have looked at it and then I would have known what I was going to do. But I think I've came here to learn. So I'm going to keep it like that, because I know this is like a test. So I don't really want to come back and reset my test again.
Yeah. Well, neither do I. I think all of us at the moment feel like we don't want to be back here again. It's not much joy, is it, at the minute? I'm trying to find. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think life is incredible, but the world right now is challenging all of us.
Yeah.
So the Akashic records, I mean, when I'm doing soul guidance readings, that is what I'm being shown. So I can only ever speak from personal experience. So the guides will come forward. I will see deceased loved ones around the person I'm reading for, and I'll see their guides. There is normally, for whatever reason, maybe this is just the way I work, a guide that steps forward that has the records or is able to access the records of that person. And they will then tell me from the Akashic field what this person is trying to achieve in life, why they've had the struggles they've had, why they've had the soul connections they've had, what worked, what didn't work, where they're at right now. They very rarely, they do sometimes give a glimpse into the future, but they, just like you're saying, they very rarely do unless it's really important, because it will rob us of our joy of experience and co-creating. And if you had it all mapped out for you, it wouldn't be much fun. I will say last year when I wasn't well, they will step in when it's right to do. So I was told before I had to have surgery last year, I was told before I went in for the surgery by the spirit world what I would have done, how it would play out, why it was going to be so challenging, and what I was working through from a previous lifetime. And I knew before the surgeons did that I was going to need 2 surgeries, that the first one wouldn't work or hadn't worked. So they are quite capable of showing us, like you're saying, a glimpse of the future. And I don't think that's going to have kept me back from, stop me from ascension. Because it was necessary for me to understand why I was about to go through such awful trauma and nearly going home, so that I could work through it, stick at it, and pass that initiation. So actually they will help you when the time is right, even at the toughest of times. But I think you were wise not to look, because I will say they gave me information up front, and for the 6 weeks between the first surgery and me realizing that it hadn't worked because they hadn't done what I was told I needed, I spent 6 weeks traumatized, knowing I needed a second surgery when my surgeon wasn't aware I did. So it was necessary in my particular case because of the severity of the situation, but in everyday life we don't really need it. The soul knows.
I felt like I honestly felt like it was a test. Because I felt this, whatever it was, I felt like it was like, let's see what he does this time. That's what I felt like. Because I think it was expecting me to look.
Yeah.
And I honestly think I passed that test by saying, no, I don't want it, man. Just when you go,
initiation. The soul knows. Your soul knows exactly what it came here to do, what it's trying to achieve. And the minute you go against that gut feeling, like you obviously had that deeper inner knowing of, actually, this is an initiation. I'm feeling it, and I'll just be in the now. That's fine,
You get a lot of people out there that want to break their soul contract. You get this, and you get a lot of people out there. I don't know if you've ever heard it, but you get people out there that are into breaking their soul contract because they agreed to do something here. They agreed to come here and do something, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not doing it. I've broke my soul contract. I can do anything I want." But they don't realize when they go back, they're going, "Oh no, I shouldn't have done that."
But also, I don't think you can. To me, that's a mental thing. You see, anytime it's a mind thing and I know I'm saying that mind creates reality, but anytime we're in the mind, like as in I broke my soul contract or cut the ties or anything like that, it's mind stuff. And the soul, my experience with Gyles was an energy that was absolutely beyond the control of both of us. There was a higher power involved in that, or a greater intelligence, however you want to call it, that our minds were grappling to make sense of, catch up with, understand. It was all unfolding at a level of reality that here had no control over. So the soul is so powerful. Like you're saying, you might pause your soul contract, you might have a little break, but ultimately, energetically, if you've got to work through that, you've got to work through that. There's no escaping it, cutting it, breaking it. You just taking a little diversion.
People don't realise that there's people that are here that's maybe their first time on Earth, because they could have been for somewhere else. But then there's people on Earth that are this is maybe their 20th or 30,000th time on this plane, and they're like real old souls. And that's what people don't realise, that they're like, oh, that's it. When I die, I am not coming back. That is it. I am not coming. I'm staying in the afterlife forever. But they don't realise that time is totally different over there. It's like you could go over there, right? So say that you've died, you've left your wife, right? You could go over there and spend like 10 billion years there if you wanted to, then come back the next day to your wife. That's what they don't realise.
Yeah, because the spirit dimensions are beyond space and time. Yeah. So when I see people's soul paths, when I'm doing readings, I see them like a continuation of a life like that, but it's touching different times and space within Earth. And the actual storyline plays out across all of those different times and space. So say very simplistically, they may be with a partner in a particular time. Say they were in Egyptian times, they were working through some kind of tragic relationship there. One dies. I've noticed that another period of time, they will pick it up at the point in which that person died. They'll pick and meet again at that time in a completely different time and space on Earth with completely different circumstances, which for all intents and purposes looks like a different planet. And they'll pick up that storyline and they'll work through it again there and again and again and again. So pause your soul contracts all you like, but to your detriment, because you're going to have to ascend. You're going to have to transcend the need to even bother about soul contracts. That's mind stuff.
We're here to learn. And that's what I've came to the realisation now. We're here to learn. But we're also here with the starseeds side of things. The starseeds are here to try and help humanity into a new era. Because if humanity keeps going on the road it's on, it is going to come to a terrible end. It's going to come to
absolutely.
They're going to end up doing something stupid. And the aliens are like, oh, right, we need to do something, but we're not allowed to interfere with them. We're not, because it's some kind of thing that they've got. So they decided to send their own kind to come to Earth, and maybe some of them will become like Tesla, like inventors, or whoever's got to create clean energy and stuff like that. That's how they do stuff. And I find that fascinating. I really do find it fascinating.
I'm totally on board. Totally. I mean, it's exactly in alignment with everything that I'm receiving. Because like I said, we're galactic. We are not just on this one planet having life here and that's it. None of us are. And whether we're baby souls on the Earth and have only done a few Earth incarnations because we're fresh from source, or whether we've done thousands of them, whether we've been incarnate in other parts of the universe, or Spirit World have told me I've been incarnate in older universes. So it's not just this universe, so infinite. So we are coming in with a whole load of different levels of awareness, different abilities, different mindsets, it's just vast. It blows your mind in the end. And that's what I'm saying to you. I almost get to the point where it's like, that's all still mind stuff. Let's get back into the soul, get back into unconditional love. Like you say, why am I here? Why am I here? What am I trying to master? Because by doing that, you're helping the whole of the universe. We're the universe experiencing itself, right?
I've got to ask you this question, and I feel that I don't know what's coming for, but when you've been doing your mediumship and that, and talking to spirits, have you ever came into contact with one of our little friends from, well, no little, because some of them are huge, aliens? But I don't like calling them aliens because they're just like us, really. I mean, they're just souls like us. Have you ever come into contact with one?
Yes, I have. But I call them higher evolved beings.
Yeah.
So not when occasionally when I'm doing readings. Most of the time when I'm doing readings, it's the spirit guides, light beings, councils of light, whatever, deceased loved ones. But when I've been sitting in seance or circle for my own development, we've had higher evolved beings come in there. I've been told, like almost like galactic federations. Because they're light beings. They're light beings, and they're working towards the same ends. So I don't know. Now I just, like I said, if you can accept that people might die and they've got a soul and that soul's eternal and therefore they exist in a spirit world, well, they're extraterrestrial, right? Yes. So now I just don't. I just keep an open mind and I just bring through whatever there is, whether that consciousness is reaching me from another part of the universe or if it's reaching me in a spiritual perspective, in the multi-dimensions. It's the marker for me is, what's the quality of information? Is it evidential? Is it proving itself? Is there a level of wisdom that's actually going to benefit my life and those who are around me? And how is that going to unify us and lead us back to unconditional love? And that is the markers to which I'm judging it. The rest, I just pass on the channel, you know. It's all there. It's all there.
As all there. It really is. Dakota, would you like to go?
No, I was just going to say, I wouldn't know any way better to put it. When it comes to this entire thing,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it comes from a whole load of experience and 27 years of working as a channel and trying to, I have put it to the test. I have worked with the scientists. I have dedicated my life to helping people who are grieving. But I also obviously naturally have a curiosity and I want to understand more. So with the spirit world sit with me in development, they've opened my mind and my understanding to a whole lot more.
Do you think it's maybe a good thing? This is something I was thinking about the other night. I was sitting watching something about life after death. Do you think it's maybe a good thing that people don't really believe that there's people that believe in life after death, but do you think it's maybe a good thing that everybody doesn't believe? Because there's people out there that sadly they want to end their life, and you shouldn't, because you're here to learn, right? And again, you're going to have to come back again. Because if the whole world realised, like say scientists tomorrow says, "Oh, we've proved that life after exists," I think a lot of people would deliberately commit suicide.
Well, I've thought about this because obviously last year I was going through a terrible time. And for exactly what you just said there, I think people wouldn't end their lives. Actually, I think it would have the opposite, because if you absolutely knew that you couldn't die and it had been scientifically proven, and you understood that you'd come here, but also that you were going to have to deal with it, whether you deal with it here or you deal with it there, because it's going to continue on and it's going to make it worse. You might as well stay put and do it. But also the other thing is, I think that when you understand the implications of it, the bigger implications of it, you're less likely to take your life than the people that maybe don't believe there's anything else and think they're just going to be free of all their suffering. So I have thought hard about this. You would think, because here's the thing as well. I think sometimes we think, oh, it's going to be lovely over there, so let's just escape. Let's all go back. But of course, it can only be as lovely as your state of being, as your level of attainment. So if you've come here so that you can level up, so that you can exist in higher and higher states of love, do it here. You're here for a reason. So I'm with you. And I think potentially a percentage of people may, but I actually don't know if it would be any different to what it is now. I genuinely don't know.
Yeah, because I've always wondered. I mean, you get the scientists that have actually been to hospices and they've done like experiments where people, how your brain keeps running. Your brain actually keeps running for a long time after you're dead. And there is people out there that's like, oh, I've got doctors in the family and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, no, life after death doesn't exist. Life after death. But then you get into the conversation with them and you say, well, how come you can get different people from all different places in the world, but they all have the exact same thing happen to them?
Yeah.
They go into this white light. It's always a tunnel. It's either a square tunnel or it's a round tunnel. You walk through the light and then there's this beautiful... It depends on your religion too. So if you're a Christian, you're going to be... The pearly gates opens in front of you and there's angels. Whereas if you're just like a spiritualist like me, for instance, it'll just be beautiful grass everywhere in the mountains and you'll see your family and friends. And it's different for everybody. It must be quite a shock for people that don't believe in this kind of stuff. It must be quite a shock.
Oh, it is. I mean, I've done a lot of rescue work, spiritually speaking. I've been called in to do rescue work. And there are people that just haven't fathomed that they've died. So it's that easy to cross. But this is where I'm saying it isn't all sweetness and love over there if you're not capable of existing within that. This is why in the spirit world, they always say to us, heaven is a state of being. It's not a destination. My guides always say that, and now, will most of us go into what my guides call the summer lands? Yes. Will we go into the light realms? Yes. Why? Because most of us inherently on this earth are good people. Most of us are, So we don't have anything to worry about. We're going to the love. This is another reason why I think loved ones come to us. It tunes us into that love so that we can get back into it.
I always have said to people that I've met people that are like, oh, I'm not going to heaven because I've been bad in my life. I've been to jail and stuff like that. And I says, look, if you ask for forgiveness, right, when it's your time, you'll get forgiveness. Oh, but I could have murdered somebody. I could have done this. I could have done that. And I said, it doesn't matter. He says, you were sent here to learn, right?
Exactly.
Maybe that was part of your agreement. Maybe you agreed it with the person you murdered. You don't know until you go there.
Also, not talking about murderers as such here, but we learn more from our suffering. So if we have done things that we then live to regret, or we've learned from, or we've leveled up from, we may well be in a higher state of awareness from that, and therefore, at the spiritual level, and this is where it's going to sound really harsh, at the spiritual level, was it good and bad? It's neutralized. It's neutralized. The karma there is neutralized because what you did, you've now leveled up to. Now you're going to be putting that right and not doing that or perpetrating that again out there in lifetimes. So we can't judge from an earthly myopic perspective. We've got no clue. If you've done something you feel terrible about, and you have, and you have reckoned with that, and you have changed because of it, just turn to the love. We are all it. Focus on the love. That's, to me, love isn't, by the way, an emotion. Love's an energy, the energy from which everything springs from. So it makes us feel a certain way and we equate it to an emotion, but love is the frequency energy from which we all come from.
I do think that is the meaning of the universe. I think we're here to love and learn. We're here to learn. We're here to learn new things. We're here to love also. But we're also here to try and help each other. And that's why our friends from above are here. Everybody, oh no, they're here to mine gold for that and that stuff. No, look, they're here because they've been through this kind of stuff. They've evolved through this stuff. They've seen what wars can do and how many billions can die. And so they've decided to come and help us. And one day we'll join them out there in the cosmos. Right? Maybe a while for now, but it's a cycle. It's a cycle that will take place again and again and again for infinite amount of time.
Absolutely. And we're all interconnected, and a higher evolved being is going to understand that we're all one. So what we do to another or for another, we do to ourselves. So, they're coming from a level of understanding that most people on our planet isn't. But it's also the same within the spirit dimensions. Why the spirit guides work with us is because what we do here impacts the spirit world. You know, all of those going back home, they're taking with them that experience that's impacting the spirit world. So it's a constant exchange. It's a, you know, a polarity. We're working together. We're teams.
Yeah, that is.
Nah, I'm.
It's quite a lot to take in, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Yeah. It's deep, isn't it?
I know. I always love the shows that we get that, you know, that leave you, you know, keep thinking about everything that was talked about. You know, I always love when we get those types of shows because, you know, those are the ones that, you know, usually end up sticking with people.
Oh, well, that's it. I mean, you know, we need to go deep. We need to, because for going back to what you were saying earlier, Christopher, what I'm being told by Spirit at the moment is that we're about to enter into a point in time when reality is going to look inverted. So we're not going to be able to tell the difference between dark and light, lies and truth. And the only way that we're going to be able to evolve and move consciousness forward is from heart space. So it's why the generations underneath us are coming in extra sensitive. And I'm being told that their nervous systems, or all of our nervous systems, are becoming more and more sensitive. A lot of them are becoming overwhelmed. It's why mental health's going through the roof as well, because the body, we're driving it. What being told is we're driving Fred Flintstone's car like a Ferrari. We're trying to evolve. We're trying to evolve the human body really fast to catch up with AI and technology and what's coming. And if we don't move into emotional intelligence and fast, we will annihilate ourselves. So the spirit world, and I'm sure higher evolved beings, because to me, I'm getting the same messages all round, it's one and the same, are trying to get us to balance masculine and feminine, both within within genders, but also within the energies, the polarities, the sensitivity, the nurturing, the intuitive, the creativeness of feminine, with the leadership, assertiveness, direction, all of that, the great stuff of masculine within each person, so that we can level up. Because masculine, and I'm talking about not men here, but the masculine energies have been too strong, and the feminine energies have wounded both females and have been wounded in both females and males. You know, it's not just women who have suffered. The men have suffered in having their emotions suppressed and being told they can't show them and all this kind of thing. That is a weakness.
See, I always find that interesting too, because people are like, oh, when I reincarnate, I wonder what will come back as. But a lot of people don't realise that they could have been a woman in their other life.
Absolutely.
See, that's the thing. And they're like, ugh. So I've tried telling this to like men that are right males, like they're annoying, but they're like, oh, when I come back, I'm going to be a bodybuilder. I said, you don't know, you come back as a woman. I said, so that's not going to happen. I says, I'm telling you, it says it could happen. If you come back and they're like, right, you need to live yourself as a woman, you need to have, like, say, 3 children, you're going to have to do that. And they're like, no. And I'm like,
because
aye.
If you haven't mastered that aspect of yourself, then you will come back in whatever gender it takes to do that. So maybe you were totally male chauvinistic or had abused women in something. You may well find you're coming back on the flip side of the coin, because you got to experience both sides, because you are so out of kilter in your masculine that you've got to now learn to balance. Because what does wholeness mean? Wholeness is masculine and feminine in balance. And this has been known for so long. If you look back at even like the Hermetica, the Egyptian knowledge, all the way back in time, they were talking about masculine and feminine polarities then. The Bible's full of masculine and feminine polarities. It was all yin yang. You know, well, whatever, you know, I think we get caught on gender or sort of the sex of people, but actually what we're talking about is the polarities, the positive and negative. And it's got to be balanced. And it isn't. It's not. So that's why humanity is flailing around. We're in a patriarchal society. It needs to be balanced. Until that happens, we can't level up.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to the day that I'm standing in the heavenly realm and I see the person that said all these bad things about women come towards me and say, "Oh, I've got some good news for you. You're going back."
Exactly.
You're going back. And they'll be like, "Oh, really? Am I going back as a bodybuilder and millionaire?" I'm like, "No, this is your new body here."
I will say that I find it very entertaining. My kids are of that generation that's all very much about pronouns and all of this. I find it all very entertaining, not because I'm disrespectful to any of it. Call yourself whatever you like. I don't care. But you know, we are souls. We are souls. So, you know, labeling ourselves when we could have been masculine in one life, feminine in another, black in one, white in another, blooming non-binary in one, or whatever, you know, we've done it all. We will have done it all by the end of it.
We could have been extraterrestrials that look totally, absolutely different.
Absolutely.
It was quite interesting because when I done my car insurance not that long ago, they actually asked what I identified as. So I put a turnip. so that's actually in my insurance for my car, that I identify as a turnip. And I found that extremely funny. Lately, when I've been getting like stuff in for the bank and stuff like that, they've started this pronouns thing. I've just been putting myself down as identify as strange things like vegetables and stuff like that because it's funny.
It is funny. Well, and also it's so plain to me that this is all about division. The more we become divided, the more we segregate, the less united we are, the less we come together as one.
Yes.
So separate us all out, set us amongst each other. You know, it's very tribal at the moment.
Oh, yes.
And I just think this is like my whole message is about you're an eternal soul. You're a tripart being. You've got a physical body, a spiritual body, but you are a soul. Let's get back to the soul knowledge. Let's unite us in the stuff that we all are. There's the common ground.
It's like the world. Yeah, it's like the world today. I don't care about religions, and I don't care if you're a man, you're a woman, or whatever you are. We should just all love each other. We should. Can you imagine what the world could do if we stopped fighting each other and we all worked together just for once?
Yeah,
we could be within the stars. We could travel. You know, it's.
Totally. I mean, I'm somebody that, having now worked with dark energies, I noticed that despite the dark, we are led back to the light. Darkness leads us back to the light. Through our suffering, we grow, right? So I even think that as the more and more we're seeing that we're being controlled by the man, if you want, it will eventually unite people globally, because they will realize that they have more in common with one another than less eventually. And I can only hope then that we will then rise up. That's the goal. The goal is to raise humanity's consciousness so they're ready for the next phase, because it's going to be a technical phase, like it or not, is coming.
Oh yeah.
Because how else did all these higher evolved beings get there without technology, you know?
Yep.
Exactly.
Look, we're still a very young race. To them, we are Jesus. We are in the Stone Age to them. and people will be watching that. People will be watching this thing. Stone Age, I've got the latest iPhone, and no, that's nothing compared to them. They can do anything they want. They can travel between galaxies, and it doesn't take hardly any time.
I think they can open portals and doorways and just literally enter in. Stargates in different place, different time.
Yes.
It's instant.
Yes. And this is what people don't realize. And one day the human race will become like them, and we will move on to another world, and we will be helping that world. You never know. We could be reincarnated in that world, helping that world. And that's people like that. You just say to people, well, that's what happens. It's infinite. See, a lot of people say that the Big Bang never happened. I believe that the Big Bang's never happened. I believe that we've been here and we'll always will be here. Yes, the sun will die one day, but a new one will be born, and it will happen over and over and over again, forever.
That is so interesting. I've never thought about it. I love it. There's something Dakota for me. It's like, that's a new thought. That's a new idea. I mean, I definitely, even if the Big Bang is a thing and these scrunches and crunches and bangs and scrunches happen, that still is just really an infinite universe, because it's just a inhale and exhale of the universe. It's not actually gone anywhere. It's just expanding and contracting. And if that theory is right, but it's still infinite, as in beyond time. It just is.
Yes. See, everybody believes in like God, and there is a creator. There is something. There is like a light source that guides us, right? I do believe in that. But everybody at the universe, how do we not know that we're not a cell in a bigger entity that lives? How do we know that the universe isn't a part of like some intelligent creature? You see, that's got you there too. You'll be thinking about that tonight.
Well, I was just listening to you thinking, I love the creative mind here. I love minds that can go, let's go anywhere. But I'm also thinking, but even then that would still be the universe, wouldn't it? Because uni meaning one. It'd be like, well, and then what happens with that animal? There'd be something else and something else and something else. So it's still only oneness. Yes. I mean, I'm with you. So, I can't call it God. I say the all because I love that from the Hermetic principles, which predates the all that is.
We're humans. We've got to name things. Humans name things. They like to name things. Whatever it is that created the universe and everything that existed, it doesn't have a name. It maybe does have a name, but we don't know what it is because it's greater than anything that has ever lived.
Well, and also
we'll never really know what it's called.
I don't think you can name it. I love it in the Tao within the Tao when they say that the Tao means that which can't be named, because if you put a label on something, you automatically restrict it. So how can all that is be labeled or named? It just can't. That is to automatically restrict it, put it in a box, isn't it?
It is indeed. It is indeed, and it's just madness because I'll go outside because I live in the kind of countryside in Scotland. I can look at the stars and you think to yourself, you look up there and you think, God, I'm just like a grain of sand in a massness. I mean, there's billions and billions of galaxies, right?
Yeah.
Within one universe. And they say that there might be universes within universes that might just go on infinitely. So you think the higher beings out there that have maybe like are billions, trillions of years old that are looking at us and they're going, oh God, there's that guy talking in that show again. He's talking about the infinite universe. But then there's the other aliens out there that are maybe 1,000 years ahead of us, thinking, right, we need to start helping them before they start blowing each other up and before they start destroying their world and polluting it. It's all a plan. I think there's a plan for everything in place. There's a question I want to ask you actually before the end of the show. What's your opinion? Like, I've noticed this when I've came across like spirits that I do a lot of pendulum work.
Okay.
Right? And I know a lot of that's your higher self and that's doing it. But I've noticed that spirits will not answer certain questions. It's as if there's like a law.
Yeah.
When you die, you cross over, you come back, but there's something you're not allowed to tell, like the lottery numbers, or you're not allowed to tell them this or that. I know the lottery numbers is going to give me a chance, really, but it's like there's a law there, and I have asked the spirits, and they will categorically will not answer me. Anything else will answer. What's your opinion on
that? So I have done the same thing. I mean, for one, on the lottery numbers, they basically say to me, that's a material gain, that we're not interested in that. But the other thing is, I think it's because there are literally laws that we are all bound to within the universe. And if they interfere with free will on our behalf, then there is karmic comeback on that. So they are allowed to inspire at certain times, but they're not allowed to overstep the boundaries. Because I've asked certain things as well, and I just don't get it back. And it's because I guess they can see it's not in my highest interest, and I have to trust that.
Yeah. So Dakota there's popped out. Be sure to visit Claire's website. Please, everybody, can you visit Claire's website? Claire, where can we buy your books? Well, also the links will be in the description, but where can we buy your books?
Oh, bless you. Well, I've got both here. So there's this lovely pink one, What the Dead Are Dying to Teach Us. And that's all about mediumship, the science behind it, after death communication, all the good stuff, psychic stuff, and then Heaven Sent, which is all about soul contracts, soul connections, all the stuff we've been talking about, reincarnation, and all of that good stuff. They are available on Amazon and in all good bookstores. And Mark, you can find me at www.clairebroad.com, on TikTok, of course. I'm on Instagram and YouTube.
You'll see me floating through there. Like, we are like, I put loads of UFO stuff up. That's what I mainly do. I
should be looking at it. I love it, as you can tell.
I've got quite a lot of views. I've got 4,000 followers, and I only put a video out every like couple of months or something. I think I've had about 10 million views or something like that.
Wow!
I don't know, but I just use that. I only go to certain channels that I like now, which I like your channel on TikTok. Everybody, could you jump over and give her a wee follow on TikTok? So, Claire, I'm going to end the show now, but I'll talk to you behind the scenes after the show.
Okay.
Everybody, have a fantastic Saturday night. I don't know where Dakota's been. I think the aliens have beamed them up again.
Yeah, you'll have to say goodbye to him.
He's waving out the window there. Bring me back! You'll need to come back in, Dakota. So everybody, thank you so much. I'll be doing a free card reading tomorrow again. I do a free card reading every single day of the week for everybody. Oh, without further ado, here he's back from beyond.
Is he? I can't see him.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to bring you coming back there, Dakota. He's just got a black screen. He's down in the kind of basement option here. So we'll just end the show and we'll catch you all later, guys. And thank you very much, Claire, for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. And we'll talk to you behind the scenes. Catch you later, everybody. Bye. Play outro.
Well, I was not expecting the episode with Claire yesterday to get as weird as it did.
It did get really weird. I was talking to her after the show. And she's willing to come back again, by the way. So we'll get her back sometime. But I'm hoping to get her on the cards, kind of when I do the tarot card reading. So we'll get her back for that, along with Lisa. Because I think that would make her very... Yeah. If you want to join us that night, you're welcome to join us that night.
We'll see. How's it going? I got a few projects coming up here soon. So
aliens. The aliens are coming.
Careful. You trying to get me to spill all the latest alien stuff is what got me kicked out last night. Yes,
that's true.
Jackass.
People, secret government organizations. We're not talking about that tonight. Tonight, we're talking about Iron Brew. Iron Brew, the refreshing beverage that keeps you going, that he can't buy. Papa Joe was telling me, he's in Texas, isn't he? He was telling me that off of Amazon, he can get an 8-pack, for $16.
I know, that's where I usually get the Iron Bro.
I get a 24 pack for £7, which is what, $10?
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah. I do drink too much yet. Maybe that's why I'm going to the dentist on Tuesday.
You get your mouth drilled in.
Oh, no, I'm not getting it drilled. I'm getting it.
Oh, yeah, you wank.
Aye, but look, do you kind of hardly get any back teeth left? That is the last. They've only got 2 molars left and 3 wisdom teeth. You'll no touch the wisdom teeth. See in this country, they'll no pull your wisdom teeth if they come in fine. They'll put fillings in them. Totally different here. The only time they'll pull them out is if they've come in compacted. But I might get them out because I was thinking of getting a set. I know everybody. I'm thinking of getting a set of false teeth. No front.
You're
no
wanting
front
to get
frost.
false teeth. You're wanting to get false teeth.
Look, I've got no teeth there. Look, no teeth at the back. So what I was thinking is all my teeth at the front are perfect, right? It's like sidey ones up the top and down the bottom. And I was going to get false teeth for the sides. They can do that. They clip in now. You get them to clip in. Modern technology and all that laser stuff. You know?
Yeah, after they drill in little magnetic bits into yours.
No. How it works is, see your tooth there. What the do is it clicks on to your tooth and it shoves up, and it's false. You can take them out anytime. I know a few folk with them, but to be honest with you, I can people that eat apples and they don't have teeth. Their gums are that strong. You know,
right.
But everybody hates the dentist. You know, what's that? The peacocks. What's that? I've never seen that before. Or the hello.
Peacock strikes back. Hello, that's a new one.
Wow, that's the Peacock Strike Back. That's the Empire Strikes Back. Except it's the Peacock Strike Back. You know?
Yeah, it looks a little stormtrooper with peacock feathers.
That's quite cool. I just noticed that there. That's quite cool. That. So you've been up to Dakota. What interesting, exciting things since last night? Have you experienced any unusual anomalies after you get kicked off a few times?
I don't know what it is, man, but lately I've only told one person about certain developments I've had. But ever since we had that conversation, I have had some of the weirdest technical issues, man.
I've not really been. I mean, last night after I came off the live, I was a tad pissed. I'll admit that. But I've put that behind me now. Put it behind me. But I didn't really have anything happen to me. I had a weird dream last night. A kind of weird, funny dream. Came one of the ones where you can smell things. You kind of the ones I'm talking about. Because I was like in this, it was like an American diner. And I could smell like the food, and I could smell the coffee, and I could smell the cigarette smoke. But it was like in the 1960s, and I was like, I've never in my life been in an American diner. In fact, I've never been in America, so I don't know how I'd get to an American diner for here. But it was weird. I don't know if that was maybe a past life that I had. See how she was talking about past lives? It makes you wonder. You know?
Yeah. Maybe.
So tell us about your dream, Matt. Tell us about your experience.
That's been going on for the last couple weeks, man. I don't know if it's like still fallout from the fucking solar storm.
Yeah.
Or what, but let's just say since I've found this little tidbit of information, I've had my computer hacked into. I've physically walked in and watched somebody access an offline copy of my new book that I've been working on and start changing things.
Yeah, and Pharaohs. See, that's interesting you say that, because I get, you ken what I'm like with technology. Dear Jesus and all that's holy, right? I've even broke my Xbox. My disc player stopped working. You maybe ken this, right? Why does the disc player, right, in my Xbox One no play my Xbox One games, but it'll play 360 games?
I don't know.
But Ken, what's been happening to me lately And I can't explain it. I went into the settings and I kind this has got to sound mad, right? But it makes you wonder if there's people spying on you. I've got the Connect. You'll be sitting doing something random and the Xbox will turn itself on. Now I went into the power settings and made sure that wasn't active. And the wee camera lights up. But it's not just that. I've had a lot of problems lately with my laptop. Mind I tell you the other night there, before it was last night, before I signed in, my camera wouldn't work. And I keep getting wee square boxes come up on my screen and it says Windows something key. Maybe it's just me, or maybe I'm just breaking stuff, I don't know. But maybe I'm just old and decrepit getting, guys. You know, the younger here, you know. But is there nothing you can get to stop that? Is there no like VPN that you can get?
Yeah, I've tightened up my security settings on my end, but I don't know. I recognize some of the signatures, and the program used to create the Trojan horse I actually found on my computer was based on a well-known CIA program.
Okay, so it's the CIA. I mean, there's nothing you can really do about it unless you buy another computer, but they'll just hack back into it, won't they?
No, the thing is, the CIA actually released their own hacking tools. Anybody can get a hold of it.
I've heard that. I've heard about that. I find that quite interesting. But did you see that there's a new mobile phone manufacturer bringing out a special mobile phone that you can't hack? I can't remember what it's called off the bat at the top of my head. But I seen it the other day. See how most mobile phones collect data on you? Right? Well, this new phone is designed so as you can't be tracked. When you turn that off, you can't be tracked. A lot of people don't realise that the old style phones, even when you take the batteries out of them, they can still track you.
Mm-hmm.
I find that fascinating. I mean, how do they do something like that? Because it's not got power running through it. But is there a wee built-in battery pack that keeps everything running?
No. All the data's still there.
You want that phone? I think it's quite an expensive phone, what I've been told. I'll see what I can. Yeah, as expensive. It's seemingly it's a military company that makes like VPNs and stuff like that are bringing out their own version of the phone. It's like it's no an Android and it's no an iPhone. You would get your own apps and stuff with it. It's like something totally different, and seemingly you can't be tracked, you can't be listened to. But come on, I mean, I've got the iPhone, right? Did you see that thing about the iPhone? How it takes an image of you in infrared every couple of seconds?
Yeah,
I actually tried it, and it's right enough. When you can count 3, and it goes. It just. I've got my camera out there, right? My video camera's infrared. And I turned the light off and I aimed at it, and you can actually see the flash. It taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
That is amazing. I mean, that just shows you how they're getting all the information on you.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes you wonder.
Without a doubt.
But yeah, look, nothing's safe anymore. Nothing's safe anymore. It's like they say like TikTok and that, with all the facial reading your faces. Obviously, they're reading your faces, right? With all these mad filters and stuff like that. They're selling their information. They're all selling their information to because there's been times I've been talking to somebody about lawnmowers and stuff like that, and I've picked up my phone and went in, and there's been an advertisement for a lawnmower.
Mm-hmm.
And you thought to yourself, but that's a kind of, I think it's listening to you. And I'm bad now because I've got one of the bloody Alexa things. I was told I shouldn't have it next to my bed because you shouldn't have them next to your bed. But I've got mine next to my bed, listening to music and stuff through it. But what's that? Windows 11 Copilot spies on you, the Peacock.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose you could, if you were really secret, if you could get like a cheaper laptop and no connect it to the internet and do all your work on that. then transfer all the stuff off of that onto your, a hard drive, and then plug that into a computer. But then the hard drive might get corrupted. Will it? No, I don't ken anything about computers. I ken you ken so much more, man. Did you hear that? That is weird. I started speaking because of that stupid command that I've got.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, typically you could transfer your work off an old device. I believe George R.R. Martin, he actually uses like an old computer that can't connect to the internet. Like it's like Windows 95 old.
It's a shame I don't live near you, because I have, by chance, up the loft in its box, an old computer. I think it's from 1987. You should see this thing, by the way. It's like a big screen, right? It's like one big box. It's just like a big screen. It's got the bit for the floppy disk at the front. And there is a wee screen like that. I shit you not. It's like it was my uncle's. He gave it to me. And I was like, I was looking at it the other day. And you think of technology now, and the younger generation, when they see something like that, it's like, my God.
Right.
I know. I mean, what's the oldest computer you've ever used, man? Come on.
Oh, Windows 95.
Yeah. I've used older than that. I've used the Spectrum computer. My brother Drew, ken him. He had the Spectrum. The old days, you know. But it just shows you my age, you know. But look, it's never going to stop. This hacking stuff is never going to stop. I suppose all you can do is try and cover your back and have backups within backups.
The main thing what you can do when it comes to this, when it comes to hacking, especially nowadays, is obviously have backups of your backups, but also the main thing you can do, all you can really do is slow it down.
Yeah, I've heard
to
that.
Where a majority of hackers who are just hacking to hack just to grab random people's info and buy stupid shit online, that will deter most of it. Now, unless you become for some reason you become a specific target,
yeah,
then you're going to have issues.
I mean, if you become a target by the CIA, or you become a target from another organisation, is it the NSA? What's the most secretive one out the lot? Is it the NSA? What's the most secret one in the government?
They're all about up there.
But if they take interest in you, they are going to get access to your computer.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you can do. And it's a sad fact to things, you know, unless you start going back to an old typewriter. You know? I mean, I know people that do that. I know people that write books and they use a typewriter.
Mm-hmm.
And then they like scan the sheets and put it in a digital form, which is maybe a good idea, because then you've got that kind of backup one, the beginning one. But I don't know, the way everything's gone now, man, the way technology's gone now, everything's just changing. Everything's, I mean, I know I'm bad for it. I know I'm bad for my Apple Watch and stuff like that. See, that thing does things that I just do not know how it works. Get what I mean? And it listens to you too. It's got the Siri on it. Oh, I shouldn't have said that because that's lit up now. But see what I mean? It's all these commands and all that kind of stuff. It is going to come the point, and this is what I was actually talking to somebody the other day about, robots. It's not going to be long before we start seeing loads of them about.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah. A couple of years. Because China's building plants to mass-produce robots that look like humans, that will walk about and do stuff for folk.
Yep. Look, society's going to start looking like a fucking iRobot here soon.
See, that's what I worry about. Yeah. I mean, I've seen documentaries and that where things can be hacked. I mean, it makes you wonder. These Teslas and stuff like that, you could hack something like that to crash.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I ken Elon Musk. He'll be there. Oh, you can't do that. You can't do it. No, man, no. Everything's hackable. Everything's hackable. And it makes you wonder, like the 747s, the big jumbo jets, when was you hacked that? You know what I mean? The devastation it would cause.
They have some pretty impressive range. The main thing that's pretty much secures 747 is that not a lot of people can easily create like a satellite or whatever to be able to aim it directly at that plane in midair. That's why a majority of crashes are always close to takeoff or close to landing.
Yeah. But it's quite. You ever been in the cockpit of one of them? Look at an air show or something like that. You ever been in the cockpit of one of them?
Yeah.
Well, I've got the Microsoft Flight Simulator. Well, I used to have it. You sit in it, and I was talking to Tim, all about beer with Papa Joe, and I was talking to him about this, and he was saying that see, they planes, they fly themselves. Themselves. Yeah. All the pilots are really there for is to take off and land. That's it. Everything's computerized. They could go to sleep if they wanted and then wake up, but obviously one has to stay awake while the other one sleeps in case something happens. But there is going to come a point in history, and it's going to happen soon, where those things will be pilotless. Let's look at the drones, It makes you wonder about like certain terrorist events that happened in America. You see where I'm going with this? Was there anybody on those planes? Was there anyone flying those planes?
Careful, that's what got the Dublin portal shut down.
I seen that. I'm going to say that that was bad. Folks shouldn't have done that. They were playing videos.
Between the Twin Tower conspiracies and the chick on OnlyFans flashing her boobs in Dublin.
Yes.
Like
they were actually playing videos of the Twin Towers collapsing. I mean, that's just bad. That's bad.
Yeah.
You don't do that for all the lives that were lost in that. Look, I'm going to say this. It's kind of somebody we should maybe try and go on is somebody that's an expert in that, in the Twin Towers. I mean, because there is a lot of like conspiracy guys and women out there that talk about this. Well, some of them know anymore because some of them have disappeared. Because was it building? What was the building that collapsed that didn't have any damage whatsoever? Was it building 11? It was called.
I believe so.
I mean, I seen that. I remember seeing that. I mean, I seen the planes hat, right? And I was watching it on TV, and this building, perfect building, nothing wrong with it. Didn't even any broken windows. All of a sudden, just collapsed.
Yeah.
And they said it was because of the underground problems. No. I think there's far more that happened with those Twin Towers than meets the eye.
The way those towers came down does look reminiscent of controlled explosions used for taking major buildings down. That's the main thing. Yes, people were on those planes. I personally know people who were supposed to be on those planes. They still had the fucking tickets.
Who's that woman that talks about this? What's that? She talks about conspiracy. Is it Linda Moulton Howe or was it somebody else? There's a woman like her that talks about the conspiracies in 9/11. And it's quite interesting because one of the people that was on that plane had a cell phone. And that cell phone rung 2 hours after that plane hit. Now, it could have been sucked out the window. It could have survived, right? That's maybe a theory there, right? But what I find suspicious
to survive.
Right, like I'm going to say this, right? I'm going to say this. That is suspicious about that because look at the guy's passport that was found. Perfect, right? Have you ever heard about the one where the people had rented out certain floors and the guy went up and they were doing stuff to the walls inside the walls where all the supports of the thing?
Yeah. Again, controlled demolitions.
Yeah. I definitely think something was going on.
Did you see there's actually talk of New York wanting to put in a new U-shaped skyscraper that's supposed to be big enough for a plane to fly through.
I heard about that. I heard something about this building that they want to build, but I've no had a chance to look at it yet.
A big U-shaped skyscraper.
Oh my god!
Nah, but again, I believe it's the Saudis that want to suspend a skyscraper from an asteroid too.
I'm going to say, right, that's a stupid idea, right? I do think we should look, but that is just a stupid idea. I mean, look at what was it? Is it the Mile? It was called the city, the big long city they were building. They've actually scaled that down. They've scaled that down because it's got to cost too much. Why doesn't they build like, what do you call these things? It's like a lift all the way to space. What's it called again?
Oh god.
What's it called again, guys? They build them in futuristic films. I think that would be a great idea because we could actually do something like that. Is it a sky bridge? No, it's not a sky bridge. Is it a sky bridge?
No. Yeah, those sky elevators. Yeah. In theory, they can be done once you actually get past a certain point.
Thank you, space elevator. Thank you.
Yeah, once you get past a certain point, the gravitational pull of the Earth isn't as much of a concern, but it's still meant to keep it suspended with how much it's going to be whipping around in the wind.
The way the world's changing, it's changing that quickly now, man. It really is. And I don't know what it's got to be like in 10 years. Right, I tell you what, here's a prediction. We'll come back to this and say, we'll come back. I'm coming down with the plague, by the way. I've quoted for you. I blame you for last night. But anyway, this came across the ether. But anyway, what's your prediction for the next 5 years with technology?
I think your brother's on the right track.
No, I'll tell you something new. You imagine me stuck in a Space Odyssey 2000 with him? Jesus, I'll tell you something new for my sanity. I'd put myself in the airlock and just flush myself into space.
I honestly, can't do that, Christopher.
Don't. He does this in the Xbox to me. He does this. He goes, I can't do that, Dave. And that's what he does for like maybe half an hour. He just kids on his fucking HAL 9000.
I was like Christy Perez in the chat, flying cars. Yeah, we were supposed to have that shit by now. What the fuck? But then again, do you really want some of these idiots to have access to flying vehicles when they can't even operate the ones on the ground?
But it is going to happen. It is going to happen because it's look at the drones. Look at the drones, right? That guy was on the Joe Rogan show the other night, that American actor guy. He's got a good idea. I like his wee drones, the drones that he's made. Because most drones go up, down, left to right, right? But his go anywhere. And then underwater too. And he's actually patented that. Did you see how they've actually on the major corporations out there have actually pinched his patent for certain things?
Mm-hmm.
But what folk don't realise is that because they've done that to him, he can now use anything they develop without a patent. Mm-hmm. Because they've taken it for his stuff. Mm-hmm. Which is really interesting. We need to get that guy on. I wish we could get him on.
Iron Firehorse Terrence Howard.
Yeah. Terrence Howard. Oh, he's an amazing guy. He really is. Mm-hmm. He's got some weird ideas, though. I will say that. Was that Arthur C. Clarke wrote the story about it? You know? Look, we're going to start travelling among the stars soon anyway. What do you mean stay up?
Breathe, Christopher, breathe.
It's my chest so bad, man. My chest so bad.
Yeah, I know.
It's choked up. I'm choked up. But anyway, look, we're going to start going that way. And there's no really point complaining about it because it's going that way. Look at the Victorians. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine what Victorians would have thought today of today's age? Let's take a general for the battle of let's take a general for, say, the battle with the Zulus, right? Can you imagine what he could have done with an Abrams tank?
Mm.
let's go back to the Civil War. Can you imagine one Abrams tank could have done for the Civil War for the Confederacy? You could have drove all the way to the White House and blew it up. Well, eventually you'd probably run out of fuel. But
Well, yeah.
Well, you need fuel. But if hypothetically, say you had some fuel. But look, the technology is going that way. It's maybe not going in the right way. I mean, the president you've got the new wants to have fully electric tanks for the battlefield.
Yeah.
Which is a very bad idea. Because they're going to have to tow generators to charge them up. Why don't you just put fuel in them? It's mad.
You have to start wondering who's trying to pay for those electric vehicles. Who's the one that's going to be profiting the most that's lobbying against all these politicians? Because these politicians, they're not smart enough to come up with this stuff on their own. Let's face it.
Look at the Vietnam War with Bell Helicopter. Who made billions out of the Vietnam War? Bell Helicopter did.
Mm-hmm.
And the way home after the war, they dumped most of the helicopters into the sea. I know people that died in them. And turn this down a wee bit in case I start coughing and spluttering. I know people that have dived in the wreckage of the helicopters in the sea in Indonesia and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's catch you later, Peacock. Thank you for dropping, man. Computers are getting to the point now where I don't know how much more sophisticated they can get. Because look at computer games now, right? Look at GTA. Let's take GTA, right? That's been out for what, 10 years? Nearly 10 years?
We would know.
Yes, I would know. Yes, that's my Xbox has only run that, right? And that's maybe why the display stopped working. But never mind that. Let's go back to the important subject for today. Now, here's the thing, right? Look how realistic that is, right? You can go up, you can kill bots, you can do all that kind of stuff. I've seen the clip for the new GTA, and it looks really real. But let's face it, how much realer can you get before it's like just like real life?
I don't know. Have you seen? I mean, come on. Think about when the adverts for Matrix 4 started going around.
Yes.
None of that was live action. All of that was computer generated.
Yeah.
All an Unreal Engine. And if you have a sophisticated enough computer, anybody can get hold of this. If they got dough for it, a couple of car payments worth, they can do that themselves. I mean, right now, let's look at OpenAI, where they got a big, massive lawsuit because they're one of the voices that ChatGPT, the company behind ChatGPT, has sounded a little bit too much like Scarlett Johansson.
Have you noticed what's been added to the last Microsoft update? There's an AI now.
Yeah.
I was playing about with it the other night. I was asking it random stuff, and it was quite good. It was telling me stuff.
Yeah,
Copilot. I mean, things like that. I mean, folk are like that. There's nothing wrong with AI. You know that. I'll know about that when the robots rise up and are chasing you down the road, try to kill you. Because it will happen. But I don't know what's going to happen, man. The world's just messed up, and all it takes, going back to the hacking thing, all it takes is one wee hack, and it could take the grid down. Everybody thinks that it'll be a solar flare or an EMP. You have no idea what a virus could do to the American national grid. Because it's like a chain reaction, isn't it? Is it Texas? It's the only part of America that it's got its own grid. It's independent grid. I think it is.
California and Texas both have their own independent grids, but the main thing that Texas got into a lot of trouble for was shortly after I believe it was Hurricane Harvey that came through and basically wiped it out because Texas wasn't prepared for the cold. Short version of it, anyway.
I seen that. That was crazy, man. Come on, that was crazy. That was just crazy weather. I think that was like a freak event. I don't think that'll happen again. Well, last great words, you know. But Kirsty Phrase, watch the Merle one.
I think you're talking about Joe Rogan.
Oh, aye. Joe Rogan's quite good, I must admit. I enjoyed that with that Terence guy. He's a very interesting guy. Again, he's 55-year-old.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like it. I think it's all the mad sedative stuff that he's all taking. That did you notice he was taking droplets out and taking bottles and he smokes like a chimney. He said it to the guy. He said to Joe. He says I smoke about 60 cigarettes a day.
Mm.
I just don't know. I really don't. It's how much better do you think computers will get in say the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, computers will be able to have almost identical. Let me rephrase. The processing power behind the computers will be akin to what the human brain is physically capable of at its peak performance.
Yeah.
It will be. And let's face it. Right now, let's say we have all these different, the Internet of Things. Everything's got to be connected to the Internet. Wireless security cameras. Wireless this, wireless that. Blah 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 blah. All these people are trying to say they're worried about people spying on them, yet they're filling their house with some of the most unsecure things.
Yeah.
Here's the thing you got to remember, ladies and gentlemen. You can get essentially like radar. It's almost that looks into radio frequencies, right? It works very similar to like a thermal camera, stuff like that. And you can see where radio signals are particularly strong. You can see how Wi-Fi, you can use the stuff and actually see like where the best Wi-Fi signals are.
Oh my God. Look at the chat. See, when I was giving a reading the other day,
yeah,
I got a flash in my head. And you see how you get the American intersections are called? That we don't get them in the UK. You came up and talking about it's like a cross. And I seen something happening, and I seen the motorbike slide and crash. And I told her that there was something was going to happen with a motorcycle. There's got to be a crash.
Mm.
That's crazy, that, isn't it?
God damn.
That was lucky. I told her not to go in it. Because something would have happened. I can't explain that. So there you go. But when you go, man, continue what you're saying, because I'm finding it really interesting, man.
Sorry, just still reading through the chat, but anyway, like I said, with this radio frequencies, say you could probably use it to go to the airport and find out where the best spots for the airport Wi-Fi are.
Yeah.
Recently, they integrated artificial intelligence into this. Helps clear up the image. And ever since they implemented that, you can see the outlines of people's inside their houses.
Yeah.
Exactly where everybody's standing. You can be able to tell the difference between their fingertips. Whereas before, you would just notice some blotches.
That's crazy. See, it's like that. I can't remember where it was, Dakota. Did you see that one where it was the guy he actually had an argument in the AI? It looked like GTA, but it wasn't a GTA. It was on the PC. You came where I'm going with this, and he actually told one of the bots that they didn't exist. And the bot's like, "What do you mean I don't exist? Of course I exist. I'm going to work." See, this could be a simulation that we're in. Just a grand simulation.
Yeah. For how sophisticated that AI is going to be able to replicate everything, it's going to be very hard to tell what's real these days.
Yeah.
I mean, look at it now with all these video generation apps, the apps on your phone where you can create pictures with just a few words.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like
I just don't know.
Actually, it's kind of like how Claire was saying. We're getting to a point where reality is getting flipped. Nobody's going to be able to tell what's real anymore.
And see, that makes you wonder. I mean, for all we know right now that you are in a some type of booth hooked up to like weird machinery with like a VR goggles on. Let's face it, you could be, which you probably are, right? And that's how you're here, and that's how you're controlling the body you're in now. But when you die on this plane, you wake up in that pod. And you're like, oh, right, that was me. Right, hello, there's my wife. You know, that came up me and go and see them and stuff like that. That maybe the extraterrestrials have figured out how to hack the system. And that's how they do it. That's how they put the souls in.
In a way.
It's scary. It is scary, man. Because there's things sometimes just don't add up in your life. See, so why did I see that? Why when I was getting her a card reading the other day, did I see a motorcycle crash? And then it's happened. I don't really see myself as a psychic. Or was that somebody telling me that? Or was that me tapping into the ether? The digital reality that we live in?
In theory, psychic abilities can actually be traced to ELF frequency.
See?
There's actual science that backs this. In theory, anybody, not just psychics or mediums or nothing like that, anybody that's trying to milk tarot card readers for which way to wipe their ass,
yeah,
anybody can tap into those. In theory.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
it could very well be possible. There could be very well be a way we could physically film people getting psychic messages. And that's why I always wondered what would happen, if all the kinks with like Neuralink get worked out, what would happen then?
I would love to do that with you. I don't mean like drill a hole in your head and put Neuralink into it, but I would love to see what happens to you when you have an experience of going up there.
I would love to too. I would. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I would love to see what would happen. But here's the thing. Let's take into consideration the fact that the first Neuralink patient isn't exactly doing so hot right now.
I seen a video of him last night. I seen a video about him last night, and they showed
Fritz.
them. Aye, that's him. Aye.
Yeah, the implants on the Fritz. I mean, it's kind of like, well, think about it. You have solar flares that cause, all these technical issues, right? Someone gets exposed to high amounts of radiation and has one of those implants, it's going to happen to them.
Well, have you ever seen a spoon in a microwave? A bit of tin foil and aluminum foil. Here we go. I'm kidding, I'm American. Aluminum foil in a microwave. What happens?
Yeah.
I know. I'm just siding with the Americans. I'm not in an argumentative mood tonight. Aluminum. Let's just call it aluminum. Let's call it aluminum.
Technically speaking,
I know it's technically it's aluminum. It's a technical aluminum.
It's you Brits that are wanting to sound all fancy.
Oh, hello. I like to use aluminium. I wrap my sandwiches in aluminium. Oh, jolly hell, boy.
No, if you actually look at the packaging here between the US and the UK, the I is taken out.
You got to remember, in America, it's different for the UK because cars in the UK are different than cars in the United States.
Yeah, no. What's the point of you guys driving on the wrong side of the road?
No, it's the right side for us.
No, it's the wrong side.
No, it's the right side. But no. Who was the first creator of the motor car?
Oh, God.
It was Americans, wasn't it? Was it a German dude? Was it a German guy? So I'm going to say it was a German dude. Of course, it'd be a German. You know, and it was a top speed of 1 mile per hour. What? You kind of speak German. What's that?
Did you just hear that?
What the that?
It was like a
Aye. It was like an old car horn for the 18, I think it was 96 or something like that was the first car. Let me ask Siri.
Somewhere right around then. But no. Right as we got to say German, all of a sudden it was just that it got a little rough there. Then all of a sudden, boop, 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 boop. The fuck was that?
Oh, here we go. 1885 to 1886, the first stationary gasoline engine. Oh, I'll tell you something now. I'll tell you, this looks like something awesome. I would love to drive something like this. I don't know how I could copy the pictures, but look at that. Don't you want to drive? I can see Dakota driving down the road and that. I can see you there. Your wee squeaky wheel going along like that, going on all the bumps. Hey, it's a 2-stroke unit, right? It's quite advanced. Let's see. It was 0.75 horsepower, 0.55 kilowatts. Wow.
One of those old ones that you had to get into the front and crank.
On January the 29th, 1886, Carol Benz applied for the patent of the vehicle powered a gas engine, patent number 37435. There you go. I could honestly look at that. I could see Dakota with his top hat on, guys, going down the road and that. What do you think? You know, in his cane. Oh God.
Be whacking you with the cane.
I know.
Just
I can imagine getting run over with that.
Apparently happened quite a bit.
It did happen quite a bit.
That's something else.
It did happen quite a bit, but you know, it's look at the way everything's going now. They're trying to get rid of gasoline cars and bring these electric cars in, which are shit. But now Toyota's bringing in a hydrogen power cell vehicle, you know, that runs in water. Look, they've had this technology for a very long time. They're just deciding to use it now.
Yeah.
They've had this since the early 60s. This is the mad thing.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
You ever heard of the American jet engine car?
Mm-hmm.
And it can run on anything. It can run on kerosene, it can run on diesel, it can run on petrol. Any form of like oil-based fuel it will run on. And it's very, very, very reliable. But they just choose not to use it because they wanted to use their agendas.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had hydrogen-based cars for over 100 years now.
That's right.
There was hemp-based steel that was used in these vehicles that was several times stronger than anything modern cars are being made, and they survived if you got into a crash. Barely a mark.
Yeah.
So I imagine, what would happen if one of those were to catch on fire? Would you get high?
Do you know what popped into my head when you said that? And I don't know if it's
dear Lord.
I went, honestly, I seen a vision in Mike travelling down the road in this wee rickety car, deliberately running out of the burning bushes and stuff like that. Going,
Chris, are you coming to the shows high again, man? Come on.
Oh, come
we
on.
had the intervention.
What do you mean? What do you mean? I don't smoke anything like that. I don't smoke things like that. I don't smoke.
I didn't say you smoked. I didn't say you smoked it. Did I say you smoked it? No. I said you were coming to work high.
But look, it's not that type of hemp. There's different types of hemp, man. There's different types of hemp. Toyota still uses hemp to make their car seats. Did you know that?
Yeah.
And their dashboards.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, there's too much plastic getting used. You know, battery-powered vehicles. You're right there. Look at the Egyptian battery. It's not the Egyptian battery. Sorry, was it the Baghdad battery?
Mm-hmm.
Look, there's so much we don't know about the hidden past. There's so much we don't know. Things that went on. And God knows, you know.
Well, that's one way to put it. As Chris goes to hack his lungs out.
What? I'm getting old now. You'll have to take me to the vets and put me down.
No, we'll
the time has come.
We'll take you on a nice trip to Yellowstone. Speaking of which, I actually got discounted tickets for Yellowstone.
Really?
I actually got a little. Speaking of which, we say, wait a minute. Well, why is the chat talking about getting spanked?
It's Iron Fire Horse's birthday tomorrow.
I see it in the chat.
Happy birthday. I think I didn't see it, but I did see it. You know, but look, what do you mean they're talking about getting spanked? Who's getting spanked? Have you been clapping the gators again?
You're the one that's been clapping the gators.
There's nothing wrong with clapping an animal from time to time. Look, there's different words in the UK. I mentioned this to somebody, and the people run about me, and they're like, it means tapping them in the head and scratching their ears and stuff. In America, it's obviously something else. Obviously, a different form of communication. That's why we get these things wrong.
God, I can't believe we just brought up the fucking clapping a gator incident again. God.
No, but look at Pete,
somebody actually bought those shirts.
You're kidding me.
Somebody actually bought some of the Clap the Gator shirts.
How many?
Oh, they're only like 2.
So someone out there right now, whoever you are,
send us a photo.
Send us a photo. Hey, I've got a cracker there photo. It's me eating a banana. He's got it. He's keeping that until I'm good. I'll tell you the funny story Mike the Naked Bigfoot had done a post on Twitter, and I did it too for a joke. And I think you should put that on a t-shirt. In fact, I give you my permission.
Banana?
Me sucking on a banana.
Deep-throating a banana? God.
There's nothing wrong with eating a banana. Everybody likes a banana now and then. Everybody likes a banana. What's wrong with eating a banana? You peel it slowly, you know, and then you gobble it. I like a banana now and again. They're good for you. They get zinc and all that kind of stuff in them. Iron. What's that amazing daughter's father's birthday? You know. So what's the new projects with you? Because again, this is what this show was going to be about today, talking about our new projects. What's your new projects?
Well,
do tell another day mine.
I don't know. You got something we're working on? I mean, you're actually doing something? My goodness.
What do you mean I'm actually doing something?
Stop the clock. Write this down on the calendar. I don't know why Arnold just came out there.
Oh my God. He definitely came out.
Get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper.
Hey,
Dakota's here. I'm going to get him a banana. I almost came
on the show sounding like Robert Kennedy, man. The way my voice was.
Not in my backyard. But look. That the Hat of the Cards has really worked out. I've gained nearly 140 subscribers through that. I'm going to say that the new it has definitely worked out.
And how many of them did you pay for?
What?
How many did you pay for?
I don't pay for any of my subscribers. I'll tell you that right now. Every one of them is real. And look, come on. I love doing it. It's so interesting. I just feel like I found like a hobby that I'm into. You know, I need to give you a card reading on the show one night to see what's coming, you know. But what about you? Cucumber? Kirsty,
what the fuck? I don't think we want to be in the chat right now.
A cucumber? What about a cucumber?
I don't think we want to be reading the chat. I think you need to pay attention to
tastes like chicken.
Chris, I think you really should start paying attention to the rest of the chat sometimes because you're walking into some fucked up shit.
What do you mean? It's the girls that they're talking about. I don't know what they're talking about. American things. Iron's Canadian.
The ladies always say that the men are nasty, but chances 9 times out of 10 the women are so much worse.
But I'll tell you, I do a card reading every day. I do free charge. That's the one thing that does annoy me is people that charge a lot of money for card readings. And it's the same. I don't know if you've seen the interview with Lisa Fry and that was talking about. It really annoys me that there's a lot of people out there that paint a picture of card readings, and every time they tell it, it's all butterflies and unicorns. Something great's always going to happen.
Right.
Look at that. I tell it about a motorbike accident that happened. Right. Look, I tell her that day, don't go in the back of that. Do not go in the back of that motorbike. Okay, I mean? But you're doing a lot of good stuff, too. You're doing the Dakota Files, aren't you? You're doing the...
Yeah, no, I need to get back on that.
And stuff. You're talking
I
about
need
your
to get back
family
on
and stuff.
top of that, because all this, between the research and development stuff and this fucking cold I've had up in my system, man, I got to get back on top of that shit.
Now, what's that? Ladies, Robin Cooper. Ladies, let's keep it classy, not
classy,
assy.
not assy. I've never heard it put that way.
That would make a dead T-shirt, that wouldn't it? Classy, but not assy.
That sounds like a bachelorette party T-shirt. Oh God.
You bring fun to it, Chris. That's rare. See what I mean? Look, I've got my card sitting right next to me here.
We're talking about bachelorette parties. Chris bringing it fun. What the fuck?
There's
people call me the gigolo?
What do you mean? But you're into this kind of stuff. You're into this kind of stuff, man. You're into this kind of thing. Get what I mean? Look at your snazzy shirt on. You've got these cards. These are, I don't know, they're endued by the gods themselves, because they don't lie. They just don't lie. They don't.
Depends on who the seller is, because some of them like to rub their testicles all over them before sending them out.
No, that's very true. Now I got these for Amazon Prime, and they're the real deal. These ones are expensive. As Lisa says, there's a lot of copies out there, Chinese copies. See, the star ones that I've got, the alien ones that I've got, they're $35 for a pack. And they're amazing. That's the Star Children, whoever it was. I mean, they're really, really good. $5.55. What's that stand for? What is $5.55?
Well, that would be the time on Eastern time.
I bet she's in Canada.
So they have if they're close to the East Coast in the U.S., it'll still be the same time. It's not like China where it's all one time zone, Chris.
Nah, that's very true. That's very true. Ah, the joy. You know, I need to give you a reading one night of those Starseed cards.
I don't know if I want to be announcing one of the stuff I've been working on, because right as we started dancing around that's when I started getting kicked off last night.
What do you mean, talking about Starseeds?
Well, I'm talking about one of the projects, and yes, does technically involve starseeds, but
I'll be back in a minute. I've got to go and get the pack. Don't be drawing anything.
Oh, okay. Get my pen. Fuck, where'd it go? Shit. Oh, okay. There's mine. Okay. Oh. Yeah, weird way to charge them. Yeah, I know. That's why. I think that's why eBay had to start shutting down on esoteric stuff, because of the weird shit people were doing. Like, sell T&M bottles and swear and selling them as holy water.
No, see these Dakota. These are broad.
Look at old bastard.
Okay. Look at that. These are beautiful cards. These are beautiful cards, and the Starseed Oracles. I would love to see what it says. Will we give Dakota one? Come on. Lawrence is either getting the Devils. Dots usually gets the Devils in the pack. You know?
I was about to say, and Lawrence usually is getting all the money issues. Well, he did just get married, so that
don't worry, you'll be getting married soon. When you get married to your new woman, are we invited to the wedding? Are we invited to the big day, the bash? Hope there's got to be
no, I don't. We don't want you there. What are you talking about?
That's terrible, ladies and gentlemen. We're no invited. We're no invited. That's terrible.
No, just not you.
You should go to Las Vegas. You should go to Las Vegas and get married.
No. I want to do something a little more classy than that.
Roswell, where it all began. You could get wed in the crater at Roswell, where it happened. Where your galactic relatives were out one day having a fantastic time. You know? Imagine that. Was that? But he's spot on with a lot of us, Dakota. See?
Yeah, it's not hard to get spot on with how vague a lot of these things usually are.
What else it says about Dakota, though? Because I was
All right,
finding.
Come on. You're playing with your little cards. All right, let's go.
Give me a minute. You'll have to give me a minute to shuffle them. For flip's sake, it just doesn't happen. I have to ask for the powers beyond. You know, these are Starseed Oracle cards, which that was actually Lisa Fry that told me about these. They were. I only play with these now and again because they are quite powerful. There's a wee book there that I can read out and stuff, but let's see. Right, I'll give you the top one, right? Let's see what it says about you. Surrender to the sweetness. That's actually really interesting, that.
Okay.
Surrender to the sweetness. Let's see what the book says about that. Let's see what the book says about that. Oh, God. Well, I'm looking it up. Why don't you tell everybody something interesting? Surrender to the sweetness.
Surrender to the sweetness. That could be interpreted so many different ways.
Yes, it could be.
Sounds sexual.
Well, I don't know, but you've got a dirty mind. It hasn't, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm the one that has a dirty mind. He's the one that keeps trying to.
There's nothing wrong.
Are you eating candy, Dakota? No, not right now. Probably should be. Probably should be sucking on something. Wait.
It's quite interesting because this is a feminine card. Why did it give me this for you? You're not going to believe what this says, by the way. This is funny as
Just
fuck.
come on.
Right.
Just come on.
Venus energy. Pleasure, joy, make love to life.
See? Sexual.
I twist. This is an essential, highly feminine card. It's called to surrender the sweetness of life. Let me finish. You've been working so hard to grow, to let your senses take over. Really drink in your life with wonder. Intoxicated in this. See, that's honestly, I wish I'd never put one for him. The simple bounty that plant has to offer, which have
I
you
like this shit.
when your well is full. Your well's definitely full. It'll not be full for long, mind you. But let's see.
The way she keeps tapping me.
The way.
Sorry.
The ancient Babylonians, the feminine goddess Lashtar, to the planet Venus and Roman mythology. Venus was the goddess of love, beauty. Fuck. Right? I don't see that here, right? Was the time to your precious resources, the greatest healer if you've been all work, no play. You do work quite a lot, you do. Your love, play with your children and give yourself the luxury time without agenda. You do work really hard, man. Many of us are so busy building our lives that we forget to enjoy them. Well, you're definitely enjoying them. We forget why we decided to build them in first place. Disconnection from the sweetness cause more pain than we realize. So many of us walk in solitudeness, building 5 days a week. Jesus Christ, you've been at it quite a lot. In the name of survival, you're definitely in the name of survival. We strive to build a life of our dreams, but drive ourselves to exhaustion. This card, wounding you back to the pleasure of being human, focusing on the really matters, enjoying your incredible life. And it says the starseed at the bottom, how can you surrender to the sweetness of life? What's one way you can enjoy life a little more? So, ladies and gentlemen, I've got a feeling his girlfriend will message him after the show.
She's watching right now.
Is she? That's for you, whoever you are. You want me to put one for her?
Don't you need to know who she is first?
I don't really need to see who she is, as long as I can. It's there. I did bring them up in the chat, but
Well, she hasn't popped up in the chat, but
You don't need to pop up in the chat. You just give me the first initial of her name.
L.
H, right. H, right.
Okay, did you hear me? Because I noticed I started to freeze right there when I said that.
H.
No.
You said hell.
I said L.
L, right. Americans, you can't speak bloody proper. L.
Talking about you fucking Scots.
What do you mean?
This
is Derek Gard reading for the Scottish Isles. And here we go. Here's Dakota. He's going to be clapping the animals tonight. Right.
Dear God.
Oh, God. Late night radio with Dakota. I'll give one of these card readings tomorrow, guys. I'll bring them along with me. Right. There you go. Right, let's see what L. Where are you from? Bet you feel like some tropical paradise somewhere out there. Let's see.
See, she's already messaging me.
Right, let's see what she says. This stuff's real, by the way. Honestly, all right.
Let's see.
I'll pull the card when I'm told to pull the card.
All right. No, come on. You've tickled my curiosity. I'll give you that much.
Interesting. Weight of the world. Boundaries. Let it go. It's not yours to carry.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like her.
Right. I'll hold it up for L. I'll just call you L. That's what you do. So you go.
Here we'll blow you up.
That, and the lady's landed in the water. The weight of the world. They are beautiful cards. They really are beautiful cards. Let's see. I need to look this up in the book. The weight of the world. Let's see. The weight of the world. There's that many. There's 300 different meanings for about the weight of the world. The sea of mysticals. Surrender. The weight of the world is 124. Page 124.
Okay.
Let's see. I do like these cards. I don't use them often. Right, here we go. I hope it's something nice. If it's bad, you can hit the quote at it when you meet him again. Right. Boundaries, let it go. It's not you to carry. You don't need to carry it all. You're no good to anyone if you're running on empty. The bogged down by the weight of the world. This card is a reminder to look after your own well-being before anyone else's, to stop crying the world's problems on your shoulders, right? To put your own oxygen mask first. These changing times, we are definitely changing times. It's hard to not feel overwhelmed by the state of the planet. However, you can't take on its problems from place of deception. Interesting that. This card, thinking of you, carries so much. You want to build a better world. See, that's quite interesting what it's saying about it. And ease the road for others. And that's incredible. But the way you've been doing so likely understandable. This isn't to say you should switch off the world's problems and become unconscious. Rather, it's a call to establish clear boundaries so you're not constantly taking out. Sorry, I can't see it. I'm getting stupid. Energetically, the planet needs you to be healthy, both physically and emotionally. So instead of deciding the news or reaching for your phone as soon as you wake up to show the first to a nourishing patience, right? Such as meditation, soul inquiry, deep breathing exercises. You're like this, Dakota. When in your state of grace, your inner well is full, you can face the day, the state of the world, care for others. Does she care for others a lot? Because that's what I'm getting. And at the day's end, take an energetic shower by emptying out anything that's not yours to carry. You can pick up again the next morning if you choose. but give yourself time, space to rest. Starseed inquiry, what are you carrying? Is it even yours? So I don't know what it means. I mean, that's what the card says.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, it's quite interesting. It doesn't. I've tried it myself a few times. I've done it myself a few times, and it's quite interesting what it says. See the dots? He actually got one, and it was the pyramids, and it pointed to he was a star being, and it tells you so much. There's loads in there, but they're beautiful cards. I'm trying to find that one the dots go, which was. See what I mean? You can get the ones. Okay, I mean, but I'll bring these tomorrow, guys. I'll give you a reading tomorrow with these. But they're good cards. What did you think of that?
I don't know.
Does she care about the world? Is that why she's here? Is that to save the world? She's carry it on her shoulders. Well, that's why you're all here, the Galactic Federation. It's to save the world, stop us from doing stupid stuff. But that's it there. If you fancy buying that for yourself, that's what it's called, the Starseed Oracle.
You should get yourself like an Amazon affiliates link so you can make a little commission off of that.
Well, I've actually I may actually do that, actually. I was offered Amazon Business. What's that?
It's like a special account where you get like discounted on like business cards and office supplies, stuff like that.
Interesting. Aye. Well, why don't you start stocking cards in the what you call it, the Bonkers store for people that wants to buy them? We could maybe think about that, you know.
Yeah, we do have the
one
little Amazon store.
Yeah, why don't we? And then I can redirect everybody to that, and then the money that gets earned will help Bald and Bonkers out.
Well, I have tonight off from work, so
do that then. I'll give you a list of cards if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do that. I kind of like that idea.
Aye, because people have been asking if I was going to do like giveaways and stuff like that. I'm actually talking to Lisa Fry about getting vouchers for her store. But I've noticed a lot of the people that follow me are American or Canadian or Australian. And see if you could do that in America. Obviously, the shipping costs would be a lot cheaper. Get what I mean?
True.
Yeah, in the UK and the rural Scotland, tell you the new. Yeah. But it's quite interesting, the one that you've got. You've got quite a feminine, because it makes me wonder, are you a woman up there?
No.
But
they're androgynous looking, to be honest.
Are you Andromedan again? I can't mind. What are you then? Pleiadian. They look quite, because they've got the blonde hair, aren't they? They're quite.
Not all of them.
No, all of them. No.
That's kind of a stereotype. Yes, it's sort of a darkish blonde, but my guys were kind of the naughty side of things. But anyway.
Just don't be clapping things. That's what I'm going to be saying.
No, we killed off a lot of humans.
No. There's times that I wished I could do that, but you know, I've got
kill count over 6 million.
Yeah, well, everyone's got a hobby. You know, come from the old days when I used to say someone had to give you a set where you're going to be attacked. Aye, I've heard that. I asked somebody about that. I asked somebody that's a really good. I asked Lisa about that. No, that is. You don't really need that. I've actually got a good idea. I'll keep it to after the show. So everybody, thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed. Elle, I hope you enjoyed your reading.
She did.
If you want, if you want, next Friday when I do my live in the car, I can pull her a card again and just say it out loud if she wants. No, it's interesting. But anyway, catch you all later, dudes, and I'll talk to you behind the scenes. I've got an idea that I've had for a while.
All right. Much love. Take care. See you next time.